Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Wednesday extravaganza live stream. Well, it isn't really. It's just us sat here talking about anything that comes, and it's like being down at the pub. That's how I see it. And here we have the wonderful Delboy is here, all ready, raring to go. And welcome.
Hello.
Brilliant. So, as I always say, also if you've got any comments and things, questions, just put them down, and we'll see what we can do. And fantastic. So I always ask, what have you been watching this week? So there you are.
Me. Well, I did a little capsule review of. Oh, I have to turn my thingy off. When I hang on, there we go. I did a little capsule review of Doc Savage, which Denny was kind enough to sort of send me with a big load of stuff about 2 weeks ago, and I've been promising to do it for a long time. And that was great. It was nice going back to something like that. It was must be several years since I've seen that film, but it used to be on all the time, you know, on either a Sunday afternoon or a bank holiday or whatever. Then Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes turned up last week. That was brilliant. This arrived the other day, and I don't know why I ordered it, because I've got it, I don't know how many times now, the Halloween trilogy on Steel.
Well, it's great.
Right. I've got it in a 3-tin box set. I've got it in individual steel books. I've got it now as 3 discs in one steel book. I don't know.
And it's not even your most favourite film.
No. I sent you One Life.
You did? Yeah. Fantastic.
A fantastic film. One I wouldn't mind knowing other people's opinions of that film, because Schindler's List is a very hard watch. And I've always said to people, it's difficult to sort of like recommend the film, other than the fact that it's a one-time sort of like definite watch. And then it's whether you're in the mood for watching something like that, because it is a very pathos potent story. But One Life is a little bit more light-hearted. I don't know, it's equally poignant. You know, I mean, it's rescuing 600 refugee children before World War II. And then how the guy who did that embraced his doubts many decades later on a program that's on our British shores called That's Life in 1988. So it's very much a game, a drama that that you must watch, because it's full on pathos and full on emotional heartstrings. But I find it an easier watch than Schindler's List, because Schindler's List is you see shots in the head and all of this sort of stuff going on, and this is more the race to get refugees out of an area that's going to be attacked by the Germans just before World War II, and that race to get the money and all the paperwork and all of that sort of stuff. So that was a very good watch, and one that because it was historical, I knew you'd like.
Mm-hmm.
I went, right, I'll get you that. Instantly, I know you'd like that.
Oh yeah, history on there.
I watched Bicentennial Man again.
Oh yeah.
A film that's not talked about too much. But it's divided, that particular film, to be quite honest. Some people hate it, some people really, really like it. I find it nice to watch every couple of years. Do you know what I mean? It's a Robin Williams tour de force, a nice score. Sam Neill does a pretty good job. But it's just like I say, some people just have a real distaste for saccharine. I suppose, which you could say it's got some in. That's about it, really. I've been watching TV. I've watched Agatha a bit more.
Oh yeah.
I think
What's
there's
your
a second
opinion on
episode.
that then?
Yeah, I think there's a second episode of Penguin that I've missed that I need to get caught up. Agatha, it's becoming ho-hum. I know what people think of it. I'm not such a Marvel fan that I don't criticize things. The first episode was what I thought it would be: bat out of hell, smash through the gates, go as fast as you can type thing. The second one was more a realization, and the third one is more ho-hum. It's a continuation of the story heading towards, however many episodes there are, which I think there are 8. Penguin's a different story, you see. Penguin is more Goodfellas, but with DC comic book characters. It's gangster. It's in many ways probably more easy to digest because you're just watching how he became the Penguin, and it's all about mafia families, sort of like who's going to be king of Gotham or the crime world. And there'll be characters that you either recognize or don't. If you don't recognize them, then it's still a good story to watch because it's like Goodfellas. If you do recognize them, then you get a major benefit because it's very much a Easter egg program, just like Agatha is. Like I say, I know that there are a lot of people that will dislike Agatha, and I totally get that. From my point of view, I'm looking at the journey. I'm looking at, am I going to like it over 8 episodes? And so far, I've seen one good one, one medium, and one ho-hum one. So, I'll continue to watch. But some people will get shut off by the 3rd episodes and go, oh, it's not getting any better. I'll shut off. And I can totally get that as well. You know what I mean? Other than that, I'd like to go to the cinema, and I'm tidying myself up lifetime wise with tidying up things like medication, blood pressure checks, all of that sort of stuff, so that I can get a time in the day where I can do that.
Would you like to go and see the Substance?
That's what I mean. I want to go and see the Substance. I want to go and see. There's a lot of films that Josh, bless him, who I'm still thinking of him and his
review.
Family. I want to be able to go back to his videos and go, yeah, I totally agree with that, or I don't agree with that, you bastard. What the hell are you talking about there? I don't see your point of view at all, matey. But actually, most of the time, 70%, I always agreed with him. So before that, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to be.
Has Substance, has it been doing well? So it's going to stay around in cinema.
Sorry, say again.
Has it done well, the Substance?
Do you know, that's the thing? I'm going in blind because I want to go in and see it without knowing.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm thinking of it in terms of box office.
That's what I mean. I haven't looked at all
to
know whether it's the top rated film this year. I know nothing about whether Simon Commode has basically said anything about it. I've done nothing. And that's the same for a number of films that Josh has reviewed, because I want to go in blind and go in just from a pure entertainment point of view. So I'm going to hand it over to you, matey. I have watched other stuff that I can't think of at the moment, but they're bound sure to come to mind.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I often do that. I'm thinking, oh yeah, I didn't mention that, but you're probably thinking, oh God, we'll be here till Christmas.
Oh yes, I remember. I saw a review on Muckman Movies where he had bought Glen Ross. I had the exact same Blu-ray, by the way. And I looked in my boxes, found it, and watched that.
Oh,
Glen Ross is one of my favorite because it's Jack Lemmon.
Oh, yeah.
Haven't watched it for a number of years. Obviously, Kevin Spacey. People are divided over Kevin Spacey. And so either don't watch any of his films anymore, or don't care what was being said. I'll watch
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly. Yeah.
Regardless, Glengarry Glen Ross, I've seen at the theatre, and I've seen at the pictures when it came out, and I bought it on DVD, and then I remembered I bought it on Blu-ray earlier this year. Forgot all about it, to be quite honest, that I bought it earlier this year. I remember the reason why I bought it. It came out earlier this year, and I was thinking, well, where's the 4K? About time a 4K was done of this, wasn't it? Noticed that there was no 4K of it, and then bought it, and then forgot about it. So, I mean, Glengarry Glen Ross, everybody knows, I think, what it's about. It's selling, it's sort of like selling timeshare, or in this particular instance, I think it's aluminium or double glazing, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
They're given they're given a certain amount to sell. If in the month you don't get your quota, then basically they give you what they call pink slips. Pink slips is the bottom feeder of stuff. And so obviously there's this going on in this sales thing. Kevin Spacey is the person who controls who gets the pink slips or whatever. And basically, you know, they're short of cash. They're all gunning for getting the top clients to sell to, you know, like timeshare type stuff. And Kevin Spacey, really, he's a bit of a bastard in it. Sort of like, if he likes you, you get it. If you don't, all of that sort of stuff. It's a very much a character driven, like Waiting for Godot type film. You know, it's very character based. It's all set in really one room, you know, where they're all selling. The film obviously diversifies more than that, but it's I would put it up there with 12 Angry Men as that sort of drama-y thing. Definitely worth watching. You know what I mean? Regardless of what your feelings are on Kevin Spacey and all that sort of stuff. Jack Lemmon shines. That's all I can say in it. But he shines in a lot of things. And you know, it really. I mean, after that, I think he did JFK. If I remember right. Not far afterwards. So yeah. Over to you, Guy. Sorry.
Okay. So I'll tell you what. I'll start off with the film that you sent me, One Life, which is about. His name is where he got knighted, Sir Nicholas Winton, and Anthony Hopkins plays the one that we see in the present at that time, the older version of him, and then we get flashbacks, looking back to what happened in this crucial period in history. I think what I found really interesting was how bureaucracy was there. It's always there, bureaucracy. And they really had to fight to get through to get these children, because it all became a matter of getting Jewish children as well. Majority, whatever people that they were Jewish refugees, and organizing it all. And as you can imagine, there was always, you know, oh, it can't be done. But people like him don't accept no. And they got it all organized, and brilliantly organized, with all the pictures they took of all the children, all the paperwork, because there was stacks of paperwork. It was brilliantly organized, and I think that comes across. But they're running against time, and that's the thing, because Hitler is already invading, taking where he can, and it's in Prague. He soon goes into Prague, and then from Prague to Poland. So it's all happening pretty quick, and they're against time, basically. And I think one of the saddest scenes in the whole film for me was the last train. And on that last train, it's full of all these children. The parents and that have said goodbye to them, are saying goodbye to them. And then it's the war has broken out. War is declared. Nazis have invaded Poland, and that train doesn't leave, and it's absolutely devastating seeing that. But I think the great thing about this, because when we see it in the modern era, I don't think he's such a modest kind of humble person that he didn't really want to talk about all this. It was just something that went in his life. I don't think he even knew the amount of children he'd saved.
Oh.
He'd saved. And it's beautiful, isn't it? That scene at where all the descendants and the children and those that he'd saved all come in an audience, and he's there. It's absolutely wonderful, that scene, and I think he's kind of shocked in many ways by how many. I think it was 660 something.
Yeah, 600 plus
that he saved, and there's been going on about it. This film. It's a great film. It's a film that I could go on, but I better not talk because history is so important. It's in a way what makes this film. I sound like I'm preaching, but about still to this day, it's relevant about refugees and people escaping from war-torn countries, and there we are. So it's been a big, you know how I love history and a particular period in history, and these two films were sent to me by Tony. We've got To Kill a King, which has got Tim Roth playing Oliver Cromwell, Rupert Everett plays Charles I. Brilliant acting, and it's a really good snapshot of what was going on. I always talk about the Richard Harris Cromwell film of 1970. This is far more to the point, really. It doesn't romanticize things, the bad things as well, which I think, although I love Cromwell, it does tend to paint over or gloss over some of the things. This pulls no punches. Tim Roth is great as Cromwell, absolutely wonderful. Rupert Everett, Duggan Scott is brilliant as well. And then, in contrast, at the same time, there's this was a 4-part Channel 4 series in 2008. This was, and this is even better. In many ways, I love this even more because it's in 4 parts, 4-hour episodes, and it goes into more detail. Therefore, you get more of the characters that you don't get in this film. And I loved it because I was thinking, oh, crikey, they've brought that character in. That's brilliant. So you will learn a lot more about and Peter Capaldi plays Charles I, and he's very good. He's excellent in this. The cast is great. It's another one where you've got this wonderful cast, but because it's got 4 parts, they can tell the story so much better and bring out all these more interesting characters. And I really admire them because also I know
what's Charles I well known for in history?
For basically being stupid, if you ask me. I know that sounds because he believed he was the divine right. He was chosen by God, and Parliament couldn't challenge him or tell him what to do. And it's a struggle between the and also he was short of money all the time because he needed Parliament. And what he did, he was trying to rob he upset the middle classes, the rising gentry and some noblemen by basically trying to tax them, get as much money off them as possible, doing land as well, taking over land, just trying to make as much money. But you couldn't do that. He upset his own supporters as well initially.
Yeah.
But
I like to ask those sort of questions.
Yeah.
Like it educates everybody out there because there's so many people that get mixed up with who was the Mad King and who was the you know what I mean? So Charles I, I do recognize the fact he had to sign the proxy, didn't he, to say that Parliament couldn't be dissolved ever again, wasn't it?
He was involved in that. Ultimately, he was so stupid because he was playing one enemy against the other, and the
Yeah.
country had fed up of him by then. I mean, the bloodshed. One thing that I was thinking about when I was watching it was there was a lot of bloodshed, really. Family against family, family split.
It's after War of the Roses, isn't it?
Well, this is between 1642 to 45, the first Civil War, and then 1648. There's another rising again, rather him playing about, because they didn't want to execute the king. People think, oh yeah, they tried the best to get an agreement with him, and he just kept messing about, and in the end, he had no choice. But yeah, this 4-part series was very good because it goes into a lot of detail of characters that you wouldn't get in this film.
Yeah, it's not a network release, is it? Because I reckon Jim Jam's in. He's probably going to line it up. We're going to nick it from you or something.
And you know what I liked is that they were using actual words that they were actually would have spoken or written down. Right. Okay. And I like that because I recognize that. Oh yeah, I remember that from when I studied it. Some of the things that they were saying, Cromwell's speeches. So that I thought that was a real bonus. So that's that. Me going on about history. Also, I watched this. This was sent by Tony to me. I've got quite a lot of.
He's got a new name now. He's called That Bastard Tony, isn't it? That's why. That's what I call him anyway. Anyway, carry on.
This one. He knows what I like. I like all sorts of things, and this is perfect. This is 1963. It's all happens in a one world day. It's called The Small World of Sammy Lee, and it stars Anthony Newley. Now, Anthony Newley, you might know, singer in the 60s. Oh, if you listen to early David Bowie sounds like Anthony Newley. They always say in the first sort of Decca album. But anyhow, I'm going off. It's basically he owes £300, which in those days £300 was a lot of money to these like gangster people who want their money, and he's going to have it by end of day in this club, and it's about him trying to raise all that money. And what I like about it is because it's 1960s. We see Soho in 1960s location filming. Brilliant, absolutely loved it. And yeah, what can I say?
I like those drama-y things though. They're very good. You know what I mean?
Black and white drama, and they're just really good British dramas. And you know, if you like, you think, oh crikey, look at that scene. Oh, you know, the location filming. They did little location shoots, and they're fantastic. And I think they're rather good. I've got more of these to watch, but that's one that I've been watching. And I think that's it, really. I watched this again, but everybody watches this at some time again. I watched that. I don't really need to say much more about that, but, you know, fantastic. And you love my bit. I've been listening to music as well, which review.
Oh, Ian Mark.
Here it is. It's magazine. Real Life from 1978. This was their debut album after Howard Devoto had left the Buzzcocks. All he did was the first sort of Buzzcocks EP, and then he went to form these. And these were more interesting in many ways. That I like Buzzcocks a lot. I do love the Buzzcocks, but these went off in a bit more different direction.
Yeah, I might have interrupted you. Say again. Who is that band again?
Magazine.
Magazine.
Howard Devoto was the originally him and Pete Shelley wrote the original Buzzcocks songs, you know, on the EP and that. But he wanted to be. I think he was not quite satisfied with the direction. I think he wanted something a bit more experimental, a bit more different, and that's what Magazine were. They still had the roots in sort of like new wave punk, but they were drifting. These were the sort of, if you were a prog rock fan, you probably could say, oh, I quite like these. All right, they have a lot of stuff going on in here, and they're not quite a straightforward new wave. And I really like the album. It's a really good album, and it shows that transition.
It's just said you were listening to music, and I can't see it on here. You know what I mean?
Well,
that's not music, is it? That's sounds.
it's music, lads. It's some brilliant music. People
I'm only trying to make you smile. All right.
Look, it's not a movie. Look,
I'm not causing uproar. I'm only
it's
joking.
not a movie soundtrack. Look, it's not a movie soundtrack. It's an album. Do you know what an album is? An album.
Oh, yes. Don't be so cheeky, you bastard. Yes, I know what an album is.
It's not a score. It's not influenced by Mozart or
all right, stuff you lot,
jazz or what have you. I don't know. It's not one of those. Anyhow, I've gone on too much, but
yeah, let's get some comments in, shall we?
Yeah, let's get some comments. Right, let's go there and right. We'll start off with the first comment is Josh through the lens. Hey, fellas. Hello. Welcome.
Josh.
And then bought the new Planet of the Apes yesterday. Great looking disc and pretty great film. Will you guys be picking it up?
I think I've answered that.
Have you got the thing?
I showed it this morning. I just showed it about 20 minutes ago. You shows how much you were bloody watching, isn't it?
Yes,
bloody hell.
Yeah. So you'll be definitely getting it because you've got it.
I've got it, yeah.
That's why you'll be definitely getting it.
Hellfire.
Right. So there's your answer. Will I be getting it? No, probably not. No.
Well, you said it yourself, haven't you? The last couple of weeks, you said you're a big fan of the originals. You like watching the new ones, but it's not something necessarily that you want to pick up. You might, I suppose, from your point of view, you'll buy them when they're all out at a cheap price.
I think I've got the first two, but I didn't.
All right, okay.
I haven't. They're not something I felt I want. I might pick them up later if I see them cheaper. Or probably
you're not in a big hurry, are you?
Right? No, I think they're good films, but they don't match for me the originals.
No,
I love the originals so much. They were always going to have a job, but to be fair to them, they are very well done, and you can't really fault the production and everything about them.
I've said already what my big problem is with the latest Planet of the Apes film is. There I was looking forward to it, and just before I went to see it, somebody told me that the film company had said it's one of 9 films. It's
that immediately puts
they've already planned out another 8 films for it, and I'm going bloody hell. As soon as I heard that, I just going, you've just alienated me right away.
That's ridiculous. I can't. Why 9? That is.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Stupid.
I'll be worm food by the time the 9th film comes. So what a waste of time that is.
Mind you, I bet if these didn't do that well financially, they won't be 9 films.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. So what's the point in talking about 9 films? You might as well have just
go to the next one.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind them turning around and saying, "Look, it's a new trilogy."
Yeah,
3 lots of 3.
That's like what's his name, James Cameron, telling us that he's doing Avatar, this and that, and it's all planned out. And by the time we get another film that's not Avatar, he'll be about 80-year-old or something, And
he'll be 94 by the time he gets to Avatar 5. So,
I mean, who the hell wants that? Nobody wants it.
All history will show is what a waste of time that all of those other films he could have done. All of those other films he could have done, yet he did 5 Avatar films where he could have done a T3 and he could have done an Abyss 2 and whatever.
He could have done more original ones, but not Avatar. All right, let's have a look. We've got next Jim Jam Movies and TV. Good evening, the legends of Wednesday evening live streaming legends. Yes, thank you, Jim Jam. We're legends in our own lunchtime.
Leg ends. Yeah. I've got a leg end, 2 of them.
Let's get this movie bus moving. Well, creaking the way I am, actually.
Yeah, I'm sort of
My
creaking.
body is not moving. What is your favorite music DVD? Oh, bloody hell. Oh.
What do you mean by music DVD? Like
I think
pop,
it means
a particular movie, like one song turned into a.
I would say it's probably not meaning that. It's probably meaning a collection, live concert or a collection of music videos by an artist. Or it could be like, you're right. Now, when I look at that, because I'm thinking, well, what if my favorite one would be something like the Old Grey Whistle Test DVDs, but I'm not sure. You're right. I'm not quite 100% sure.
I'll tell you when I played an awful lot, and it's not my favorite, but they used to bring out these sort of like compilations of glam rock.
Oh, right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they'd have clips from Top of the Pops and Cheggers Plays Pop and all of these sort of things. And they'd be from The Sweet and Susie Quattro and all of that sort of stuff. I don't think they were done by the BBC or anything, but they were. But I remember going around a friend's house, and just in the background we'd put something on, and it'd be a load of videos going on, but we'd be doing something else, having a chat. And we'd just look to the corner of the TV and say, "Oh, look, it's Susie Quattro. Yeah, remember her in them skin tight bloody jumpsuits? Yeah. What was that?" And then all of a sudden T-Rex would be on and all of that sort of stuff, and we'd be getting into the music, But concert-wise, I've got no end about John concerts that have been put onto DVD that I've actually been to, and then it's nice to go back and say, "Hey, I was actually there." You know what I mean? Not probably that particular, not particularly that occasion, but I was actually at that tour. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's an easy one for me, of being out in John one, or one of these compilations of prog rock or compilations of glam rock, all the old stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Of course. Yeah.
Because I am an old fossil. If I had a beard and I moved and all my hair fell out from the top of my head, I'd look like you.
Yeah, well, a lot of people do. Yeah, well, you never know. It could happen one day.
I'll look like that next week. It'll probably be next week. I'll look like that.
Yeah. You suddenly might think, "Oh, I could just have a nice beard. That would be good. That'd be really good." Oh, I know, my hair's dropping out. Oh, that's it. Yeah. Yeah. Oh dear. So question, my favorite has to be, it can only be, which was perhaps the greatest music program.
You've already said the Old Grey Whistle Test. What are you having a second go for?
It's the Old Grey Whistle Test, because it was the best.
Yeah, what are you having a second go for, bastard? Move on.
It's available still on DVD. You can still get it.
You don't get another shot, you miserable bastard.
I do. I just saw that I'm suddenly selling it. You see, you can still get it on Amazon, right? See, Amazon ought to be paying me, shouldn't they? Yeah. Have you ever seen a film that has a major impact on your life?
On your lift? On my lift?
On your lift, stair lift. Not for me, no. No. God, it's a big question. That it's one of those questions. I don't know.
And I don't know if I've answered it before, because I think what I've always said about it is, what do you mean? Like, there's been films that have moved me when I've come out. I've wanted to run up the road because I've seen Rocky or something, and it's got me motivated to bloody run up, to do half marathons and things. like watching I don't know, what do they call it? Chariots of Fire or something. You know, it's got me inspired to go out and do half marathons or something. Major impact on your life.
Yeah, on your life. Yeah.
That's a difficult one. It's a great question. It's just that there's probably loads that I've come away going, wow.
Yeah. Well, it's like, do you remember we was talking about the event films? Are those do they have an impact on your life?
You see, you see, that's what I mean. An event film, it can be looked at as being a joy, but a major impact on your life could also mean something that actually changed the direction of where you were going in life.
Oh, you know? Wow! I
don't know of any film that's ever done that, but there have been films, honestly, that I've watched that have made me go, right, I just want to now concentrate on collecting science fiction, or I really want to just collect comedy now, because that film, if they're all like that, then I want them all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there have been films like that Mel Brooks has done that's made me go, I want every Mel Brooks film now going out, because ever since I've watched The Producers and Blazing Saddles, I know now that I want to watch everything he's done. Same with Spielberg, same with, Ridley Scott and all of those. But again, that's not a major impact on my life, other than it's a decision I've made that I want to collect that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking a major impact on my life. That is a difficult one.
Yeah.
Great question, Jim Jam. Just it's halted me for a moment because I'm trying to think. And that means there's a lot of static and silence while we're all thinking.
It's the word impact on your life, major impact. I mean,
major impact.
What
I'll tell you what.
Do you come out a changed person?
Okay, I've got one.
Go on.
My hometown, and I've said this before, my hometown, back in something like 2014, 2015, a director decided he wanted to film a zombie film in my hometown. He got everybody involved in it. I turned into a lead zombie in it. I went to the studio that was just up the road from where I live, and spent 3 days as a lead zombie, and filmed several scenes. And I learned an awful lot about cinematography, how runners work, how the stunt people train people up before you go into a scene. I learned how the catering works, everything. Just being an extra. So a major impact on my life. I became an extra for the first time just before I turned 50 in a film that finally got released. So that must be a major impact on my life, wouldn't you say?
Mm.
Yeah,
that's a good answer. Yeah. I wish I had an answer like that. The only answer I think I've answered this question before, and it's the best answer I can give because it is important to me. And
I was going to turn around. They were going to film this zombie film in Leeds, but because everybody's a zombie up there, so you'd have to try and find somebody that wasn't a zombie in Leeds. So they decided to move it down south. Far away, anyway, with your answer.
Well, I think I have said this before. You know it as well. Is that the film I always say is Zulu, because it was the first film I ever saw at the cinema, and in itself, it totally just blew me away, and my imagination just seeing that, just what wonderful spectacle. So in a way, that changed my life because it changed how I thought about this wonderful invention. I was a child and I'd seen the TV. Mind you, the TVs in those days, think of this, in 1960s, TVs were about this size. It's all cabinet, and there's this little screen, And
with a
actually,
magnifying lens in the front of it.
no, actually, I'm wrong, because we wouldn't have had a TV then. We wouldn't have had TV, so I had nothing to. All I had was be.
You'd have had a gramophone, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Well, actually, my mum and dad's what radiogram. That would have been.
That's what I just said. A gramophone, a radio.
Yeah.
A great big sideboard with a radio and a bloody record player in it.
So, looking at it like that, from my viewpoint, seeing the big screen was absolutely out of this world. I'd never seen anything like it. And there it was. And it was fantastic. And you wanted more. Once you'd seen something like that, you just wanted more. And so that did change my life. Yeah, because it got me interested.
I think that's a beautiful story.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a lie, because basically, back in 1901, when you were watching, when you
didn't have the radio either.
Back in 1901, when you were watching what the Butler Saw, for a penny. That was it. Yeah, that was the first major impact in your life. But
Marconi
how you turned around and said 60 years later it was Zulu. I don't know.
Zulu, yeah. Everything comes back to Zulu. It does. It's just.
It was what the Butler saw. We know you had put a penny in and you were cranking the thing. We know full well.
So anyhow, despite Delboy saying all these things about that's my answer, right? Which I think I have said before. Yeah. Whereas everybody, I don't know. They're probably all. I don't know.
Watching other stuff tonight.
Yeah, other stuff. Yeah, probably watching. Yeah, other stuff. Yeah. Yo, Tony. Del, I watched the Goonies episode, Bigfoot.
Goodies.
What Arthur C. Clarke shows? Oh, those shows that he did.
I mentioned the other day that when Goodies moved to ITV, they did about 6 episodes, and one of them was the search for Bigfoot, right? And it starts off with this homage to Arthur C. Clarke, right? It had Graham Garden, right, dressed up as Arthur C. Clarke, and it said, was Stonehenge really a fuel station for alien ships?
Oh.
You saw this cardboard saucer come down, and the bloke down and put fuel in it, and all of this sort of stuff. And at the end, Graham just turned around and said, "Are any of these things true or false? All I know is that you'll be spending an awful lot of money for me to tell you that I don't believe a word of it." And I just found it hilarious. I thought it was brilliant, to be quite honest. They weren't as good as they were on the BBC, of course, but there was a couple of episodes on the ITV that weren't bad.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, I think they were better on BBC, weren't they?
But do you remember the Arthur C. Clarke's Mysterious World shows that used to be on at 7 o'clock?
Yeah, ITV? I do remember them. Yeah.
It always used to have that crystal skull, didn't it? Turn around.
Yeah.
Arthur C. Clarke's Mysterious World.
Even despite 2001, it was.
Well, it's just that I remember after watching that, I think the BBC started to show Leonard Nimoy's Mysterious World. They had Leonard Nimoy narrating his tales of unexplained and all this sort of stuff.
I think they were very popular programs. They were obviously quite. People are always interested in that.
All about people that had seen frogs. Raining frogs and hail that's the size of boulders and things like this. You know what I mean?
There used to be another program, I think, was it called Believe It or Not or something? Was it Ripley's or something like that?
Oh, Ripley's Believe It or Not. There was that.
There, I vaguely remember that as well. Yeah. So we've got what have we got now? We've got Muckman Movies. Good evening, chaps. Good
McMahon.
evening. Yeah, thank you for joining us. Did you see a Robin Williams film called Jack from 1996?
Is that where he was a big kid and the front cover looks like him behind behind a little desk and he's sort of like a big lad behind the desk sort of thing? Is that Jack?
I don't know. I don't know.
Could be, I don't know. I
No.
think that's what Jack was. It's where he's yeah, he looks like a 40-year-old, but he's got a mind of a like
Yeah.
8 or 9-year-old.
No.
I think, I'm not sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my best guess because I've seen no
Yeah.
end of Robin Williams films and they all get muddled up. But I told you
Yeah.
earlier on I watched Bicentennial now.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
The literally in the last 2 days. So
Yeah. Yeah.
again, should I say?
It's almost, you still can't believe that he took his life.
Oh, I still can't believe he's gone.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's just, it's.
I can still see him now playing Mork and Mindy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I saw him in Popeye. I saw him in Hudson over Moscow over the Hudson. I saw him in the what was that? What was it called? Got that famous scene of dancing in the middle of Piccadilly Square or whatever it was. I forgot what it. Anyway, I've seen like Centennial Man. I've seen Good Morning Vietnam. I've seen I mean, so many Robin Williams films. I mean, I still rank one of his best films, and hardly ever anybody talks about it, as The Awakening.
Oh yeah, one with Robert De Niro.
It's
based on a true story.
Where they find the drug to wake people up that have gone into comas.
I read the book because it was in our library when I worked in the library.
Penny Marshall directed that film. Penny Marshall, and she was in Laverne and Shirley, weren't she? She did. She directed Tom Hanks in A League of Their Own.
Yeah,
with Madonna and that.
Yeah, crikey. Yeah.
Penny Marshall, she did a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. What have we got here? Muckman Movies. Loving your videos, lad. That's Jim Jam Movies.
We all love Muckman Movies.
Yeah. As Josh says, rewatched Maestro this week with Bradley Cooper, and it rubbed me the wrong way. Oscar bait nonsense. Oh crikey, that made me think that Cooper overdosed on so many acting pills. It's an interesting. Is that the one where is a chef? Is that the chef one, Maestro, or is it a different one? Oh no, sorry, it's a totally different one. No, that's
composer,
isn't it?
The composer. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. I don't know why I just suddenly thought of that. Yeah. That's the composer, isn't it? This one. Have you seen it?
I know of it and haven't seen it, but I've wanted to see it because I like composers and I like talking about Mozart and Beethoven and Bach and all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But I do know that sometimes actors do overact. They put their heart and souls into it, and they think that they're playing how the person is supposed to be portrayed, but are so far off the mark it comes across as ham acting.
Yeah.
I don't know whether Bradley Cooper did that or not. I'm interested to know. So I'll be watching that with definitely with new eyes.
Yeah. I like that phrase, acting pills. Yeah. Some of them probably do take acting pills.
Yeah, I mean, Michael Caine said it probably the best, and he turned around and said, "You have to be very, very natural, but you also have to know the technical side of things." Do you remember he did that acting documentary, and he was talking about how you look at the camera, He said,
Yeah.
you don't look at the camera. What you do is that you look beyond the camera. You're probably best to ask your leading, co-star to be behind the camera, and you look at them, and you want your left eye looking directly at them, and the right eye also. But the right eye needs to know that the camera is there, and you need to react to the person. So ask them to speak your line. And I was just going, wow, this guy, Michael Caine, what a person to try and that like to give advice to all of these other co-actors that were there on the technical side of things,
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure he'd probably get a laugh out of acting pills.
Yeah.
He'd probably be laughing at that himself. You know what I mean?
It's a job, he would say.
What was the last Michael Caine film you saw? I think my last Michael Caine film that I saw was a film called Twist, which was Michael Caine doing a reimagination of Oliver Twist.
Oh, right.
It's about 4 or 5 years ago now.
Yeah, I am. I know that last film he did before he retired. Was that was he a war veteran or something? Going back to visit Normandy. I think it is something like that. It's quite moving, anyhow. Very moving. Says I'm watching season 6 of Brassic. Oh, right.
Do you know what? I watched the first 2 seasons of Brassic and then fell out with it. I just went. As much as I like the girl that's in it, because she's dead gorgeous, she really is really nice looking. I just really couldn't get into it anymore.
What's it about?
Oh, it's like a family that sort of like that are doing things, like illegal. Very much like a Shameless.
Oh, right, I get you. Yeah.
Set up north, so you'd like it.
No, probably not. It sounds.
No, you would. It's up north. You'll love it.
No, it doesn't matter. A lot of things are up north, like certain programs may be up north, but it don't mean they're good.
It's like the Dingles out of Emmerdale. No, it's not.
Yeah,
it's not that. It's not that at all. Isn't
it? Let's have a look. Through the Lines. Didn't think I would like it, but I watched Pride and Prejudice.
Oh, the old Pride and Prejudice.
Beautiful film, but which?
Yeah, which Pride and Prejudice? Which one, the 80s one or what?
Is that yeah? I think there's been quite a few versions of Pride and Prejudice.
I do like period piece movies, though. Full stop. You know what I mean?
It depends with me. Even though I say I like, I do love history, but I don't like romanticized views of things always. It's far too. It rubs me up the wrong way. I don't mind a romantic story, but there's a difference between a romantic story and a romanticized view. And some of these just don't seem real. They're just, even, as in relationships. Because a romance should be about relationships. But when it's it doesn't. Anyhow, I'm going on. But there we are. Penguin was ace. Oh, so he's seen it.
Yeah, I can understand why people will go overboard with Penguin. The one thing you got to understand about Penguin is, and this is my only rub against it, is that at the end of Penguin, he gets his costume. Right? It's all about the journey that takes you to him being the kingpin of crime and being called the Penguin.
Yeah.
Right? So really, the end. You're watching a film where you're watching a TV program where the end. Where a film where a program like Agatha is where you don't know the end. And that's why I don't mind watching both programs, because one, I know nothing about what the end's going to be, and the other one, I know exactly where the end's going to be.
Yeah.
If you're watching Smallville, right, back in the day,
exactly.
You knew right at the end, Tom, whatever his name was going to be, was going to get his Superman costume.
Yeah.
Right? When you watch Gotham, you know that Batman was going to get his Batman costume.
Yeah.
So when you're watching the Penguin, what do you think's going to happen? Yeah, it's going to be the Penguin at the end. Yeah. Well, there you are. So I think DC play that card a little bit too much.
Yeah, I think actually I never liked the idea of Smallville that much. It just,
Yeah.
I can see where they were coming from, but it did a lot of seasons, didn't it? Did it do what, about 9? Or, it did a lot. And
Smallville
how
was 10
could you
seasons. 10 seasons long.
10?
10.
Yeah. What can I say about that? It's too many. It's,
It was Tom Welling or something his name was, wasn't it? I think his name
it
was.
just won't. Yeah.
By the time he got to the end of it, he was Christopher Reeve's age, I think.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
he could have well fitted into the Superman costume, but
I presume because it had 10 seasons, it must have had some reasonable ratings then. It must have had some good ratings.
Yeah, I mean the ratings went down and down and down. But for the first 5 years, it was like a number one type Warner Brothers TV thing to watch, you know. I looked at it as being a cross between Superman and X-Files. There was always something going on there was always something going on in a lake or something. I mean, you know, a bloke going around eating people's livers or something, and you're going, well, this is the X-Files, isn't it? What's all this? What's all this nonsense?
Oh, not stabbing teenagers.
Yeah,
he could have met Jason.
But
we could have had Superman versus Jason.
It finally did rest on its laurels, you know, where it was like, oh, he's going to build the Fortress of Solitude and all of this sort of stuff. It finally did. Yeah. But it's just, at the beginning, it was like the Monster of the Week.
So, yeah. Well, that, yeah. Let's see. We've got Josh again. I haven't seen episode 2 of The Penguin yet, but the first was pretty great. These films and shows about grounded villains can be lame. Joker, cough, cough. But this great. He's not a fan of the Joker.
Actually, I had a word with Josh, and he's sort of like, it's a wannabe taxi driver.
Wannabe taxi.
And he's not far wrong, you know. I mean, it really is. It really does act like that.
Actually, that's a great description. I like that. They'll have to put that on the poster. Wannabe taxi driver. Yeah.
Taxi driver too. Yeah. But he's quite right. It's grounded, and the best way I can explain it really is it's Goodfellas. You know, it's crime lords battling crime lords to be kingpin of Gotham. And all this is going on, and I mean, nobody really is a costumed villain yet. You know, there's no Joker that we've heard of, and there's no Catwoman, and no Batman going around. It's actually, I can't remember. I've seen, like I say, episode 1 twice, and I can't remember what setting it's in, and what and where it fits in regards to the Batman films. I'm not quite sure where it fits in, whether it's before the Batman or whether it's in between, whether it's between Batman Rises and all of this. I'm not quite sure where it fits in. All I know is it's before the Penguin became the Penguin. That's
because in the Batman it is, isn't it? Most the characters before they were known as the sort of heroes. I mean, sorry, villains. The villains, weren't they?
Yeah, you know them as their real names.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I haven't seen Batman for a long time, but I remember. Yeah.
So this is where I'm saying it's really a TV Goodfellas. You know, thing. You know.
Yeah. If episode 1 of a show gets my attention, then I will binge the rest. Well, that's you do become addicted to it, you know. If you can watch them all.
That's why sometimes I recommend that people wait until it's all out and then watch it, and then watch one after the other. Sometimes though that can be overwhelming.
Yeah.
I'd usually say wait until it gets about halfway through. Then get halfway through, watch it. But certain things I can't wait for. You know, I mean, you know, the Game of Thrones dragons. You know, the House of the Dragons. I think is an excellent show, and I was watching that week by week, and that reminded me of how I used to watch X-Files and how I used to watch a lot of TV. And to be quite honest, it gave me something to look forward to. On
it does.
But I
In
do,
fact, my
I do
plug.
totally get it when they show a first episode and then they say
Yeah.
right at the end, and now you can watch all the episodes because we've uploaded them all to the streaming service. I do get that.
It's like this week, I reviewed Colony and on X-Files, and I was tempted. I was I've got to do it now, but I didn't. I restrained myself because I wanted to watch the next episode. But because it's one that I remember anyhow, unfortunately, because it was one that they released when they used to release the VHS tapes. Where they'd stick 2 episodes together. They'd only stick those, and that was one of them, Colony. But it's a good one. Let's have a look. What was the last film you saw at the cinema? Oh God, why asking me that? Bloody hell.
Oh yeah, well, to me it was Wolverine and Deadpool. Your one was Jaws 1, wasn't it?
No, it would have been. Yeah, cheeky monkey.
You only just got that then, didn't you? Bloody hell, wake up, will you?
I was trying to think of an answer. I don't know. It was either
1975.
Yeah. No, I did see it at the cinema though.
Yeah, but I bet you did.
Yeah, I did see Jaws at the cinema. The last film I saw. It would have been. I think it was probably Lion King, the animated one.
I thought you said that you saw one just before COVID when the lockdown was on. I thought you said you saw one with your son. You went and saw.
No. It was more. It was much earlier than that. When he was a child, more. Yeah, it probably was the Lion King or Power Rangers or something like that.
That's mid-90s, isn't it? Lion King?
Yeah, 90s. That's right. Yeah. We used to go then. And then he probably got fed up and thought, I'm not going with that, Dad. Yeah. Yeah. So let's see. Last one. I'll say Lion King, the animated one, the original one.
I was going to say, better not have been that other piece of shit. That live action one where they got no arses. They got no arseholes because Disney digitized them out.
Oh dear, awful those live actions. This is Muckman. Del, you made a comment on my latest video, which begs the question: can you remember the time you started collecting steelbooks, and which one was the catalyst to your steelbook obsession? Oh, that's a good question. What was the one?
I'm always leaving messages for Muckman. He does a great video. He's just done his top horror steelbooks, which is great because I write down all of the titles and I put them in a book, and all I need is that last part of his address. And I'm straight around there. I even know where he put them on his shelf because he puts them over on the left-hand side when he's doing his videos. No. I suppose it was something like 2000 and I don't know, 15, 16. I think it was when Marvel were really at the top notch of their game in regards to before the Avengers Endgame and all of that sort of stuff. And I was I thought, wouldn't these Marvel steelbooks look really good? And at the same time as these Marvel steelbooks were coming out, they were starting to say, right, they're going to bring out the whole of the Star Wars films, from the first one all the way through. Yeah. And I thought, those would be nice as well. And then all of a sudden, Back to the Future was coming out as a steelbook, and I was going, do you know what? I'm going to just basically buy steelbooks from now on.
All right.
And it sort of then became instead of it being, I'm going to just do specific ones, it then turned into, I might as well just buy every film that comes out. That's not every film that comes out, but you know what I mean. The ones that I really want, instead of having a a slipcase or anything like that, I'll buy the steelbook edition of it. Do you know what I mean?
And if there's an obscure one, say in Japan, would you go for that as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, you go for anything.
I've bought stuff, you know.
Yeah,
It's why sometimes I've mentioned, you know, we mention other channels because we're very big
yeah,
on community, and I've said plenty of times, you know, Keith at Euphoria Pictures does a great
yeah,
video, you know,
yeah,
and he's always doing heads up to people that are big on collector sets, and he'll say, "Look, get this from Amazon Italy,
yeah,
get this from Amazon
yeah,
Germany," you know, all of this sort of stuff. I'm not big like he is.
yeah,
I'm not a channel as big as his, or got a collection anywhere near like his, but you've got to commend a person that basically wants to help the community by saying, look, don't fall for Zavi and HMV and all of this sort of stuff. You'll
yeah,
probably get it cheaper if you hang about, wait and buy it from Amazon Italy because they'll drop the price by 50% in
yeah,
a couple of weeks. And when somebody does something like that, you know that they're very big at wanting to help the community, and
yeah,
that's where I'm going. Hey, here's a genuine person. So you
yeah.
know,
Hmm. Right. What we've got here. Jim Jam Moves on TV. Ian and Dale, you are two kind-hearted guys. Well, thank you. Thank you for
my
compliments.
heart's broken at the moment, but it's on the mend.
Uh, mm, oh,
Wow, that'll win.
at least you can joke about it. Um, I saw the substance, Jim Jan. Oh, so somebody's seen it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was on the floor before you sniffed it.
Yeah. Dell Blossom's got #1 in the charts with Gary.
Yeah, but isn't that the Northern charts?
Oh.
No, we were talking on in text this week, and I happened to mention to him. I said, "I've got 3 of their studio albums. I don't think I've got the 4th." And then he showed me a picture that their 4th album had gone to #1. But I'm pretty sure it read the 4th album's gone to #1 in the charts up north. In other words, it was
Cheeky monkey.
no. It was talking about a radio that basically was really
Ah, right.
album,
Yeah.
you know. And from that point of view, because I mean, take it like this: I don't listen to any type of top of the pops type thing. I don't think there is one anymore.
I
And I
doubt
don't
it.
look, and I don't look online to find out what the
Yeah.
indie charts are and the R&B charts are and the country charts are. But I'm pretty sure that would be one that would go to #1 because they are a very good northern band.
Yeah.
Like I said, I listened to them because they had some synth type
Yeah.
instruments in their albums, and very much like a Britpop type thing.
Yeah.
So Britpop with synths, that's unusual. So I started listening to them. I didn't like the name of the band, Blossoms. Bloody hell, what the hell? You might as well just turn around and say, what band do you listen to? Oh, I listen to Parsley. Do you Parsley? Bloody hell, what a name for a band that is, Parsley.
It doesn't sound very macho, does it? Or
Blossoms. I mean,
robust. It sounds a bit airy fairy kind of.
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
I listened to a band called Lily of the Valley or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like fragrance, isn't it? I mean,
yeah.
But you know, they actually are a good band.
Yeah, with an unfortunate name.
Well, like I said, I think it's a bit of like a bit of a weird. It's not. I mean, it's not exactly like sounds like Oasis and Ziggy Stardust or anything. You know what I mean? It doesn't have a kick to it. It's called Blossoms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Through the lens. I've booked to see Joker 2 on Friday. Oh, can't say I'm excited, but hearing the mixed buzz has me intrigued. Jacques Demy's Umbrellas of Cherbourg seems to
Jacques
be a big influence.
Jacques
Oh,
Demise, I think is
Demise.
yeah,
Uh-huh,
Demise.
uh-huh.
It's French
Oh, sorry.
anyway, but
Yeah.
Joker 2, yeah, with Radio Gaga. I mean Lady Gaga,
Yeah,
you
I
know.
knew you was going to do that joke. I was waiting for
Uh,
that joke. Q joke. Yeah.
big nose Gaga.
Uh,
Um,
I don't know what
I
to
can't,
say about it, really. I
I,
almost wish we just had the first film and that was
like I
it.
said, I mean, he's already mentioned that he wasn't a big fan of Joker, so to be
Yeah.
excited over Joker 2 would be hard anyway, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I found Joker to be ho hum. Joker 2, not
It doesn't
extremely
excite
excited.
me. No.
But then again, remember, I'm more Marvel than DC, so
Yeah.
I'm not going to be totally excited.
Yeah.
I'm never excited about a new Batman coming out
Yeah.
yet.
So I'm never excited about much at all.
But I know several of my friends like Jamie and that are
Yeah.
extremely excited, and I'm going. Do you know what? I'm happy for you to be excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited when a new Spider-Man comes out.
Yeah.
Right? It's each to their own. It's just that Joker 2 with me only sort of semi going about Joker 1. It's just not going to fill me with excitement. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll probably be pleasantly surprised when I see it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it doesn't. I'm not. I'm not
No.
going. Oh, I can't wait for
Oh,
Friday.
no.
No, I'm not
No.
like that. No.
I get more excited by my Cornish pasty. I think, yeah, that's it.
Oh,
That's more
yeah, I'm more
exciting.
excited going to Greg's. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, no, I don't go to Craig's, but I have to. A good Cornish pasty, lovely. Um, and then Jim Jam movies and TV, nice one. Muckman, uh, through the lens, Josh again. The Substance has done very well, has it? All right, one of the big indies of the year, so it is making the money then at the box office.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
it's gonna
good.
be around. That's great.
It's great. I mean,
It is good to see.
anything that gets revenue into the cinemas is great
Yeah,
for me. But
I agree.
you know, I don't look at things as now being indie anymore. I look at things
Yeah,
now as being films that actually get into the cinemas.
yeah,
You know, I mean, I don't think Warner and that can actually turn around and say, "Hey, we're huge
yeah,
now." Because
yeah,
as far as I'm concerned, how the mighty have fallen.
yeah.
When you get to see some of the crap that comes out.
Have you noticed though when you look at well, I have recently when I've been looking at films, is you never get just one lot financing it. A lot of finance comes from different sources to do these films. That's what it's like nowadays, and
Yeah.
um, a big studio. It's not the same, is it? You don't get many big studios. If you're a filmmaker, you are an indie maker, aren't you? Really, you've got to go around trying to get the cash
Yeah,
from various sources.
exactly.
BBC, Channel 4, even, and all these.
And
They'll
like I said,
finance them.
it
Yeah,
wasn't that long ago that Channel 4 funded a lot of British cinema
yeah,
and teamed up with handmade movies and all sorts of stuff,
yeah,
which were big. Like I said, you
yeah.
don't need to be MGMs and
No,
that
no,
anymore.
no. And this is where you get good producers.
In my
Producers
opinion,
that know
anyway.
all the sort of where to get the money from. That's what you need. A good producer who can get it out of
Yeah.
people. I recommend it if you're not too sensitive. Yeah, I know it's got a body horror kind of reputation, which in everybody's taste. Thank you for thinking of me, Delboy. I'm doing a little bit better. Glad to be back. I look forward to having you on a stream soon. That's great. It's nice.
That's so nice. He actually put something in my Discord, and I tried to get around to doing the same. And things just got on top of me because of things that are going on in my life at the moment with medication and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
But he knows my sentiments towards him, and I just want him to be happy in himself, get over this hurdle and come out the other side. the best advice I can give him is to ease yourself into doing the stuff that makes you happy, like going to the cinema again and
Yeah.
watching stuff again. When something like this happens in your life, it's you get a distaste for the stuff that used to make you happy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I found it really difficult for me to want to play games anymore when I got into a really bad way. I used to love learning about the latest game that had just been written, and it was coming out on the Friday, and all of this. And then there was a point where I just turned around and said, "Do you know what? Don't give a shit anymore.
Yeah.
Don't." Or I'd buy it and go, "I'll put it on the side here, and I'll play it at some
Yeah.
point. As long as I've bought it, and I can play it whenever I want." And then you never went to it because basically life moved on. Don't
Yeah.
ever get into that position. You need to have a little bit of a rest, and you need to sort of like get back on that horse, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
And otherwise, it will lead to you half of the stuff that used to make you happy, you just tossing out and saying that was my old life. When actually it could still be a major thing for you. So yeah.
I think as well, one important thing I've learned is that we should live life now, not wish it away, thinking, "Oh, I wish this and that." Every day, if you can, try and find things that you enjoy personally. It can be small things. It can be small things or big things, but that's to do is to live day by day, not to get. It's obviously, I think when you're younger, you're always looking ahead and wishing this and that. But in the end, it's best to just go from day to day and enjoy each day the best you can. I know that's not always easy when you're feeling absolute crap and the world seems such a bad place. But I'm sure if you can look around, just little things they build, but give you a boost. They slowly, and each day comes by, and you'll find them, and you'll get stronger and better by just going through each day at a time. And yeah, that's the end of my philosophy.
Yeah.
The Substance sounds awesome. Yeah, it's going to be one of those films, definitely. It is Jim Jam Movies and TV. Muckman says Glenn Ross is an acting masterpiece. Wow, that's quite some claim. Every single performance is incredible. Yeah,
absolutely.
you were talking about that, weren't you?
Well, yeah, because the Muckman movie reminded me that I had it.
Yeah.
I was going, how did that bastard buy that? He must have come round my house and nicked it.
Right. Josh, not my usual go-to film, but I'm willing to give anything a try. Well, that's how it's good to do that. Don't always be stuck in one genre of film.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. If you were to rename Substance Never Ending Story 4 or something, right? It'd be round there like a shot. Never Ending Story 4, The Substance. Bang! Right, I'm off. I'm out there, out the door right now.
Oh God. There we are. Name your top 560 films in comedy or drama. Love it, Nick.
Well, I can tell you now, some of them, The Producers, The Odd Couple, The Apartment, bloody hell, fire. That's hard. I was going to say Dr. Strangelove, but I wasn't that enamored by it. Oh, it's a mad, 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 mad world. Oh, and Guide for the Married Man. Yeah, I think I've named 5 comedies. Dramas, that's harder. Dramas.
Oh, you don't have to do dramas, but you can have a go if you want.
No, dramas, bloody hell. Midnight Cowboy, is that 69 or 70?
It's 68, I think, 69.
68,
Yeah,
there you
yeah,
are. So
I think it's
Midnight
68.
Cowboy.
And that's what I chose. I was thinking of that one.
What
Oh,
about
God.
the was Steve McQueen's pool thing, the where he plays pool against Fats? They remade it as The Color of Money, didn't they? What's it called? I forgot what it's called. What's it called, you big bastard? Come on, help me out here.
Yeah, you're right. It's funny. You've mentioned Color of Money, and I'm immediately.
Yeah, that's all I can think of.
Yeah, I can't remember what the original one's called. I should know.
Yeah. Anyway, that would have been one. Because I think that was done in the 60s.
Yeah, it was. It was.
Patton, is that the 60s?
Bill? Which one?
Patton.
Yes, I think that is George C. Scott.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lawrence of Arabia.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They are. I must have done 5 there. Come on, I've done 5 comedies, 5 dramas. What have you done? Bugger all. Come on, let's hear yours. Off the top of your head. Come on.
Right. Okay, I'll go. Let's see, dramas. I'll do Servant, which is.
Hey, look, Muckman Movies turned around and gave the answer. Look, The Hustler.
The Servant is absolutely brilliant. Dirk Bogart. It's his sort of brilliant film. What else? I see horror films keep jumping into my head, and I wish that's what I was trying to think. That's why I thought of The Servant.
A horror film could be a drama, can't it?
Oh well, if you can. Well, I can have a list. Psycho, 1960.
There you are. As far as I'm concerned, that's a psychological drama.
Yeah. Peeping Tom, definitely. Can you have science fiction drama?
Why not?
What Time Machine? Time Machine's a drama.
Listen, radio plays were dramas, weren't they? As far as I'm concerned, they did War of the Worlds as a drama.
Yeah. Well, I'll have Time Machine because I love the Time Machine. It's one of the great films of all time. Let's see. Yeah, I think Lawrence of Arabia. I know you've put that down, but it was
Zulu.
Oh yeah, Zulu. I've got 5 then. You've helped me out to get the 5. There we are.
What about the bridge over the River Kwai?
Yeah. There's a lot of well, I like Battle of Britain, Battle of Bulge, Tobruk,
633 Squadron. Bloody hell.
633. I like 633 Squadron as well. Brilliant.
Comedies you could have Centurions and all sorts. You could have Miss Marple and all sorts. Norman Wisdom films.
And I go to horror films. I can list loads of horror films, but
but you can't because you've got to bring out comedy now. Unless you want to bring out a comedy horror, you can't do it. You've got to come out with comedy.
Carry On Screaming.
Yeah, right. Carry On Screaming. Right.
Yeah, that one I could use as a comedy.
4 more. Come on.
Okay, 4 more. Is The Great Race a comedy?
Yeah.
Yep. Put that one down. Great Race.
That's with the Great Race. That's with
Tony Curtis.
Jack Lemmon.
Yeah. The Odd Couple.
I've already done that.
Oh, blooming heck.
Bastard. Okay. Yeah,
Uh,
Parliament done that. You
uh,
can't have Some Like It Hot because that's 1950s.
yeah, yeah. Let me see. You really. I'll tell you what. I'll say comedy then. I'll say Carry On Cabby.
Oh, you got two
Carry On Camping.
Carry On films, you cheating bastard. At least I made one.
Carry On, yeah. Carry On
Oh,
Cabby, I think, is one of the best black and white ones. Carry On
it is,
Camping,
no,
of
it
course. Carry On
the,
Screaming.
it is the best black and white carry on film.
Yeah, I could cheat as well.
Well, I reckon that's free.
I think
so
I've got 5. I must have 5.
that's free. Free, you cheating bastard. Come on, well, you have 3. That is. You've got another 2 to go.
Well, I got Mad Mad World. I like that. But I know you
did that. I did Mad Mad World.
I like that one. It's a crazy film.
And The Apartment and The Graduate. Oh no, I didn't do The Graduate. Oh,
The Graduate. I suppose it's a comedy drama, isn't it? It just falls into both. Yeah,
so you can have The Graduate. You've got to come up with one more now. One more.
Okay, it's not a very good film, but it's the only one that I can think. The Intelligence Men, Morecambe and Wise.
Seriously, you want to put that in your?
Well, I couldn't think of anything. Oh, wait a minute.
Comedy film.
The Early Bird, Norman Wisdom.
Yeah, that'd be a good one.
You'll let me have that one.
Yeah,
I was getting desperate. I know the Morecambe and Wise films are not very good, but I couldn't think of
anything. Say no, but
I remember going to see it.
The Early Bird would have trumped that every time.
And I was trying to think, did Benny Hill make any comedy films?
Well, no, he was sort of like a side player in Chitty Bang Bang.
Was he in The Plank? I don't know if he was in The Plank.
No, it was that was
Eric Sykes. I know
Eric Sykes, and Tommy Cooper, and
so he wasn't in that. But anyhow, that one really
even Ronnie Barker was in that.
It's a short film, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I think I managed to get them. I got my Carry On films in and got those other 2.
Yeah, well,
you missed out on the Carry On films.
Yeah, all right. I did miss out on a Carry On film. Yeah.
Right.
That was fun. Thanks, Jim.
It was. It's a good question.
That was fun.
It had us racking our brains on what's in there, or what's pretending to be a brain. I don't think I've asked this before. Oh dear. But who's your favourite go-to director?
Oh, Ridley Scott. There you are. You have people have asked me that, and I've said Ridley Scott every time. So.
I'm going to say Terence Fisher because of Hammer films. I'm always going to Hammer films, and Terence Fisher was the Hammer man, Mr. Hammer. He was brilliant.
And that's a good shout, because so many people will say Martin Scorsese, and they'll turn around and say Brian De Palma or Steven Spielberg.
Yeah,
and to have somebody like Terence Fisher mentioned, it just shows you sort of like it doesn't have to be a huge.
Yeah, well, they don't get much recognition. People like that who did brilliant jobs, what they did. Yeah, absolutely. Name a film. This is Jim Jam saying, name a film you saw where the trailer turned out to be better than the film.
Oh God, I've mentioned this a million times, but I said that Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery, had all the jokes in the trailer.
Yeah,
there was no point bloody watching the film because all the jokes were in the trailer.
Do you know, I don't watch many trailers.
No,
I only watch them if I see them at the cinema. I don't on YouTube watch trailers. I think
it's very difficult for me to answer a question like that, because I must admit, I've seen no end of trailers back in the 80s and the 90s.
Yeah.
But I do remember my mate coming out and saying, "Do you know what? I was so looking forward to," and he said this on purpose. He said,
Yeah.
"I was so looking forward to seeing Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery. When I went in to see that film, I thought I've seen every single good
Yeah.
joke was in the trailer." So
Yeah.
I didn't ask him, "Does that make it a bad film? Then did you not enjoy the film?" But it must have made it hard for him to say, "Yeah, it was a great
Yeah.
film," because he said all the jokes were in the trailer.
It's interesting because a lot of people still, you hear that, what you've just said now, people say that still nowadays about
Yeah,
trailers, don't they? They say, oh, it gives away. Oh, but there are other people that will say, oh, what was in the trailer wasn't in the film, which has happened as well. But to be honest, I don't watch trailers. If a new film is coming out that I would like to see, I just keep it as a surprise. I'd rather do that. It's like The Substance. I'm sure there's a trailer for that, but I'm not watching trailers. I'm not watching it. Yeah. Muckman. Oh yeah, the producers. I love the producers, and The Apartment have to be my top 5. Jim Jam.
Hey,
Producers.
I said both of those. The producers, because it's Mel Brooks. The Apartment, because it's Billy Wilder.
Yeah. But producers was just so. It's something. It's just so clever.
I mean, it's just as soon as I saw the producers, the next film I saw was Blazing Saddles.
Oh,
and then after I saw Blazing Saddles, I saw a Young Frankenstein.
Oh, another trait.
And it seemed very much like I was watching them in the order that Mel Brooks really was on his A game. I tried to watch things like The History of the World Part 1 and all of those, and I did like them, but they starred comedians that I only sort of semi knew about, like Sid Caesar and all of that. But I did get an appreciation of that. That's why I think I like The Guide to the Married Man a lot, because The Guide to the Married Man has got Sid Caesar and Reiner, the director. What, Rob Reiner, is it? No. Anyway, and they were all top of their A game comedians showing off. So yeah, I got a bigger appreciation of things like High Anxiety and all of that, all the Mel Brooks films. And then I didn't understand why people were really taking the mickey out of it. Films like Spaceballs and Robin Hood Men in Tights. I thought they were equal parodies, but I suppose the humor from certain reviewers was comedy has moved on. But I think if comedy is funny,
it's funny anytime. Yeah.
So you don't need to think of it as being old hat.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is why I feel so sorry about certain comedians that were almost bullied off of our TV because it was alternative comedy. It was like, if comedy is funny, it's funny.
Yeah.
Why do you have to demoralize it by saying you're the old and we're the new and all of this stuff? You don't need to do that.
Well, it's ironic that the alternative comedians became the mainstream comedians in the end, and now they're considered, not.
I mean, I do understand why silent actors didn't make it into the talkies films, because if the voice didn't match what their persona was,
it wasn't going to work.
Then of course it was a jolt, right?
Yeah.
But every time I watch a Laurel and Hardy silent, I can almost hear them talking.
Yeah.
And when I hear them talk, I can't think of anything other than that matches your persona. It matches your physique. Oliver Hardy sounds like a big booming sort of like voice, and Laurel's got that high pitched voice, and he's thin and wiry. When you listen to Charlie Chaplin, it's a bit of a jolt.
Yeah.
If you were to listen to, Buster Keaton.
Yeah.
He never made it to the talkies. you know, I can imagine he probably would have sounded right out of
Yeah.
you know, sane, you know. But
Yeah.
it's a sad thing. I mean, I think Stan Laurel gave him his last £100 or something to make a film, and he basically drank it, I think,
Oh dear.
and then
Oh,
he died, didn't he, of liver
yeah.
or something? Forgotten what it is. Shame. But there you go.
And then we've got Steve's Gaming. Hello. Hi, guys. Just popped in to say hello. I'm not in a good way right now, but wanted to say hi to you lovely guys. Well, thank you for coming in. You probably can't hear what we're saying
Yeah,
because it's
he's not here right now, but I wondered because I haven't seen a video of his for the
it's
last
not been, it sounds
two
like
and a
he's
half
not
days.
well.
About two and a
Yeah.
half days it's been, so I wondered whether he wasn't very well
Yeah.
because
Oh,
that's unlike him. So
yeah. Hope you get better.
yeah,
Yep. I'll get well soon.
he's one of my best mates, so I hope he does.
Yeah.
You know.
Jim Jam movies and TV. Dell, who is your favorite Spider-Man villain?
Oh, I'm old school, so it's going to be either the Green Goblin or Doctor Octopus, one of those two. Probably more the Green Goblin because Norman Osborn is just an evil, an evil, manipulative psychopath who basically even before he was the Green Goblin persona, he treated his son with such disdain that he was a nasty person anyway. So he wanted too much. In fact, the picture of him is in the top right hand corner. Look there, up there. That picture of him up there. He's evil, just pure evil. So yeah, Green Goblin. Doc Ock is just an evil genius, but Norman Osborn was a psychopath, evil bastard. You know what I mean? So I'll go with the Green Goblin. There you are.
Okay. Muckman says, Ardy Steve. Stephen, get well soon, bud.
That's nice.
The Graduate, what a classic. I agree. Yeah. I love the Graduate.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what about The Graduate. I can only watch it every couple of years. I don't know. I don't think it's a laugh out loud comedy. It's one of those ones that I have to be in the mood.
I agree.
For. Do you know what I mean? The music says it all, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's probably why I watch it more.
It's a fantastic thing. But
60s.
To be quite honest, seeing Dustin, Hoffman sunning him by the pool and being a bit scared of his father's, of his father's friend, because he's bedded his wife and all of this.
Yeah.
To be quite honest, there's not much that goes on. It's more a farce of him going in his car and traveling from place to place, which is why you listen to the soundtrack so much.
Yeah,
there's always something of him playing on the radio when he's trying to get from one place to another. But
yeah,
it's a good film. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
I find it a bit slow. Jesus,
yeah,
slow.
It's a film I watch. I certainly watch it
every couple of years. I find
once a year, twice a year, sometimes.
Take it like this: I will watch Midnight Cowboy 50 times more.
Oh yeah, same with. I love that as well. Love both of them. I think, as usual, you see, I suppose it's the music, and if I get a good lot of music songs that I like, it tends to attract me to watching the film. And when I hear Mrs. Robinson, you obviously associate it with a film, so I think that's why it appeals to me. As this coming of age drama, as so many are, aren't
they? Yeah.
Favorite Schwarzenegger film? Blooming heck, that's a question. I don't think we've had that one before.
I'll try and answer quickly then. I think, for me, favorite Schwarzenegger film. I'm going to go with. See, it was either between Last Action Hero or Terminator 2.
Ah, phew. I thought you were going to say what I thought.
Well, you know,
Yeah.
they're
There's a lot.
obviously.
Yeah.
Last Action Hero is great. Running Man is great. I'm going to go with Total Recall. I think Total Recall. I watched Total Recall more than Terminator 2.
Yeah.
Total Recall. There you are. So I'm trying to get through this as quickly as possible.
For me, it's there's no the Terminator, the very first one. Absolutely love it. I think it's the best. I think that as much as I love Terminator 2, I prefer the first one. I think it's a far better film.
I'll
Far
tell you
better
why. I'll
story.
tell you why I like the Terminator, because Schwarzenegger says hardly anything in it.
Yeah. Oh.
Says about 5 words, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Must be brilliant then.
Right. Let's have a look. What can you say? Who would you have liked to have seen in a Carry On film, and which Carry On film would it be? Oh, crikey!
You mean who would I like to have seen in a Carry On film?
Yeah, that wasn't in one.
Wasn't in a Carry On film.
Yeah.
And which Carry On film would it be?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because it's going to have to be somebody of that period as well. Or does it? Or can it be? Could it be a modern one that you could imagine?
Why not? Just replace a comedian that you like with whoever was in the film in the first place.
Yeah.
Might as well. Let's go down that route.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say Jack Lemmon, and I'm going to say Carry On Cleo.
Oh. That's a good one, Cleo. I'll tell you. Was Benny Hill?
He has to be with Walter Matthau.
Was Benny Hill in any Carry On films?
No.
Right. So easy. Benny Hill and Carry On Camping.
There you are.
There you are.
So we can move on.
I was lucky there. I thought you were going to say that.
No, because I mean, you could have said Dick Emery. We could have turned around.
Oh, crikey.
I mean, I could have said Ronnie Barker. I could have said Ronnie Barker in Carry On Screaming.
You think about it, Dick Emery could have played also. He'd have been perfect. Yeah.
I just mentioned something a little bit out of the box.
Yeah.
Because I think it makes it a bit more abstract to do so.
Yeah.
Like I said, I already thought of Ronnie Barker. I'd already thought in my head I'd gone through, so many. So.
Yeah. Danny says, "Hi, how are you all? I'm good. Well, thank you, Danny. Thank you. We're all right. Hi, Jim Jam Movies and TV, mate. Bookman Movies. Piers Morgan in Carry On Up His Own Ass. It's a good one. Yes, I think a lot of people
we'll do that one next year.
Jim Jam says, "Hey, Danny, mate. Bookman Movies. Favorite Michael Caine movie? Probably The Man Who Would Be King. Is that there was Sean Connery? Is that
mine? Obviously, is Get Carter, but it's closely followed by Sleuth, and there's one other. I can't remember what the title of it's called. It's one that's just come out. Well, not too long ago, where he's an old man being beaten up on an estate.
Oh.
And he goes on revenge. Oh, what's it called? You know the one I'm talking about, where he's on a building estate and basically all these.
I've not seen that. Is that a lady? Sounds good.
Yeah. Oh no, it's in the last 10 years.
Yeah, it sounds good.
It basically they're all growing up on this housing estate. His friends and that. They're all in their 80s. And
Oh, yeah,
there's these people that terrorize people as they go underneath the motorway. You know, those
yeah, yeah,
old bridges where you've got
yeah.
paths. And I forgot what it's called. Really can't think what it's
Right.
called. Bastard. But anyway, I've mentioned Get Carter. I've mentioned Sleuth. Those are two definites. I like Zulu.
Yeah.
You know,
Uh,
I like the Ipcris file. There's a lot. You know,
yeah, I'll try and
Funeral-
mention ones that.
even Funeral in Berlin is great.
Oh, I like all them Cold War thrillers. They're brilliant. I love the Cold War. Yeah, in fact, you've just pinched. I was going to say one of them. Okay, I'll say. I know what I'll say because it was a big, important film for him. Alfie, the original
I
Alfie.
was never an Alfie fan.
I liked it because
I like him talking into the camera.
yeah, that's it. There's a lot about the film, its style and the way it is that is interesting, I think, for a film. But I know what I'd say, and I always love this film. It's one of his later films. Educating Rita. Absolutely love Educating Rita.
Oh,
What a great film that
you
is.
bastard! That's a classic, and that's
It
got
is.
a synthesizer score.
Yeah, it's just a well, yeah, it's based on a play, and
Well, of
it's
course it is.
brilliantly translated.
Astonance is getting the words wrong, and it's got some fantastic. In fact,
Yeah,
actually, Hannah he classes that and Hannah and his sisters as being two of
yes,
his
the
films that he
Woody
really
Allen
liked.
one.
That
Yeah,
he
yeah,
classes as being two films that he absolutely had a ball doing.
great. Yeah, I like Woody Allen. I know it's unfashionable to say that,
But this is
extremely
why.
unfashionable. But I
But
like his films. I
this is
don't think
why
he's
this is
personally.
why I was saying about Kevin Spacey. It's
Yeah,
like, well, you
yeah,
can boycott films because of certain
yeah,
stuff. A shame if you do so because you're missing some right
yeah.
classics.
Exactly. Same with Woody Allen. I
I,
don't
I
condone anything that he's done.
I used
But
to like
yeah,
watching the film Bananas.
yeah.
Brilliant.
But Annie Hall, Manhattan, Stardust Memories.
No, what's that?
Sleeper, a sci-fi one. He's actually done a sci-fi one, which is Sleeper when he wakes up in future.
Yeah.
Brilliant film.
But
Early one.
what was that sex one he did with Burt
Oh,
Reynolds?
everything you wanted
He
to
wanted to
know
know
about
about
sex.
sex but was afraid to ask.
Yeah, that's brilliant. It's that's another one. They're earlier ones. Yeah, I think maybe his earlier films are a lot funnier, maybe
Yeah,
than his later ones. So let's have a look. In ranking order, name your top 5 Carry On stars. Oh, crikey.
wow, Sid James has got to be number one, hasn't he?
Yeah, I'll say Sid James and who
Kenneth
else?
Williams is 2.
Yeah, same. I'll just ditto you. I know
Well,
I'm
then,
to say
well,
my
then,
favorite as well because I
well,
think she was
then
consistent.
it will
Was
split. It will split. When we get further down, because there's
yeah,
things like Peter Butterworth and
right. Yeah, but you say yeah. You say then. Carry on.
no. I'm just trying to think of that. I haven't
Yeah,
got I've took my Carry On book upstairs
yeah.
now. So I can't remember all the names, but um. I mean, I will have Hattie Jakes as 5th. I will have.
I'm gonna have Joan Sims probably because she's consistent. She was in, I think,
I will have
most of it.
Jim Dale as 3rd.
Oh right, yeah, Jim
Just
Dale.
just
Yeah,
just um but yeah, Peter Butterworth. What's the other one that I used to like?
Kenneth Connor.
And if Connor, that was it. There's too many, matey. That's really
Yeah,
hard because I'd probably put Peter Butterworth and Kenneth Connor as on the same pegging because those were two when they were in the same film were absolutely brilliant together.
yeah. I think 5 is not enough.
Yeah.
To be
So
honest,
we'll have to move on, I think,
because the 2 women I would put in is say
Well,
Joan Sims,
I think it's
and
bad that you don't name a woman in the
Attie
top 5. You
Jakes.
know what I mean?
I mean, Attie Jakes is just incredible, and as I said, Joan Sims because she appeared, I think, in the most
As a woman,
behind
she
Kenneth
did.
Williams. I think Kenneth Williams might have been the one that appeared in most films, but
He
Joan
did.
Sims was behind him just, I think.
Joan Sims was the highest
Yeah.
amount of films that she was in,
Yeah.
and then Hattie Jakes was second.
Yeah, and
you'll tend to find that the women were only in about 2 or 3, and they weren't in.
Barbara Windsor isn't in as many as people think. I think because Carry On Camping was so successful.
Well, she wasn't even.
She was in a lot.
Yeah, she wasn't even in another one after Carry On Spying for at least another 2 films.
Yeah,
another series.
She's not a big. That really put her into limelight. I suppose.
I think her era was 68 to 74.
Yeah, and she left early as well. She didn't do some later ones as well. Mind you, a lot of people didn't do later ones, but yeah, I think we've got enough there. I think, yeah. So we'll go on to next. Tony said, "Hello, Tony. Evening, Ian and Del. Favorite Michael film? I guess, yeah, Zulu. It has to be Zulu, of course, doesn't it?"
I'm going to say Get Carter for me.
Yeah. Oh, Tony, it's definitely always Zulu. Jim Jam, let them catch up on the comments a bit. It'll be 10:30 before they get to this comment. What time is it?
It's actually 10 o'clock.
We're before.
By half hour.
Yeah, we're before. Oh, hello. Yeah, welcome again. Yeah, I hope you're safe out there with the you're in some really bad typhoons and things at the moment, so stay safe. Yeah. And then evening, Tony. And Jim Jam Lowell Dell. I would nick a network. I just sneak one. Oh,
I'd never nick a network. That's because I said go round Muckmans and nick
them. Tony, how you been, mate? And Jim Jam says, thoughts on Hobson's Choice film? God, I haven't seen that for years, but I'll let Delboy
say no. I haven't seen Hobson's Choice any sooner than you have.
Yeah. Yeah, it's John Mills. Is John Mills in that? It really is a long time ago.
Hobson's Choice is a film that you've seen it.
Yeah.
If you were to ask someone, okay, then tell me a synopsis of Hobson's Choice, you'd be going, I haven't seen it.
Yeah. It's one of those films. Is that by any chance on network, I wonder?
Oh, I bet you any money it is. He's probably watched it. He probably watched it last night.
Yeah.
Bastard.
He'll know all about it. Tony says,
Hobnob's Choice. Yeah,
Hobnob biscuits. Yes, they're all right.
With the chocolate on the top, not the normal hobnobs.
Evening, James Muckman. Thanks for the compliment, Del. There you are.
Oh, I can't remember what I said. I said Tony the bastard, didn't I?
Pugwall 316. Evening, all. Good evening. Welcome. And then Muckman, we are here all night. We're 24-hour party people. Well, I'm not. Blooming heck, I won't make it that long. Speak for yourself, yeah. Tony says, James counted my MacBook TV series around 80. That's quite a good number.
Quite a sizable amount.
Yeah. So you better watch out, Tony, giving that information away.
Yeah, just don't name which 80 you've got, because I tell you what, that Jim Jam will be round there like a bloody whippet out of a cage.
And then we've got Wee Bob Arts. Hi, gents. Hello. Welcome.
Hi, mate. Wee Bob Art. He's brilliant.
And then we've got Jim Jam. Nice one, Tony. If you get the chance, send me a DM photo of your collection. Oh, right. Currently watching anything with Irene Andel.
I am.
Remember you saying how good she was? Yeah, no, I think a few weeks ago you mentioned it, didn't you?
She really is an indisputed sort of, like, as far as I'm concerned, comedy genius that really nobody talks about. I told you about that series that she was in with the bloke from Love Thy Neighbor, where she's tending the grave of her dead husband and falls in love with the gravekeeper. Forgotten what it's called now, but that ran for about 4 seasons, and was a film as well. And then, of course, she was in Sickness and in Health towards the end. She was the one who was always deaf.
Oh, right.
Hello? Like this, doing all this. Hello? We're in the doctor's, it was Alf. They were in Alf's living room. I remember they were in Alf's living room. She thought she was going to the doctor's and started taking her clothes off because she didn't know where she was.
Yeah.
And she was in Maggie and Me, and she was in she was in a lot of films, but you don't know what the films are. They were a lot of black and white, just in the background, a jobbing actress.
Yeah.
And then she was the voice on radio, because her voice was distinct. Apparently, though, she was the loveliest person you could ever meet. Of course, she was in Metal Mickey.
Yeah.
For me, in the 80s, she brought Metal Mickey to life.
Right.
With a gobstopper suite. But yeah, I mean, I miss her to bits, really, because of her voice, the way that she was, more than anything. Yeah.
I can't top that. A good tribute there. Tony says, James, I'll do the network film sometime, but they're all over the place. Well, don't invite him
in
over.
Other words, if you come round to nick anything from my house, you won't find them all in one place. They're all over the shop, so don't bother. That's what that means, isn't it? Really?
Okay, James. Mate.
Okay, Tony, mate. I won't come round and nick them all. Right? Yeah.
Del, you getting the Critters box set from Harrow? Yeah.
We mentioned this last week, and I said it's amazing that they brought out all 4 Critters films in a £55 Arrow box set.
Yeah.
And I said I didn't know whether I was going to order them or not. The nice thing about being able to order is, you can cancel. So I have ordered them, but I've got a funny feeling that I'll cancel because there's other stuff that I want.
Yeah.
Bringing out Demolition Man and a few other things that are on 4K that I think at the end I will probably cancel it because they're to me a nothing set of films. They're just the first one's all right and the other 3 are and 55 quid for one film, really? Because that's at the end of the day, what I'm saying is there's 4 films, but if you only really want it for the first film,
it's expensive.
So
it reminds me of them Species films that everybody said the first one is good, and then they brought out this box set with all the others, and
they did it the same with Puppet Master. They did it the same with, like I say, Critters. I mean, at the end of the day, all the Chucky films, all of that sort of stuff. They're all built into an IP.
By about 4th, 5th one, they're really not so good, are they? Usually,
I love the first House film. I love the second House film. From the 3rd and 4th House films along, I can't remember them.
Yeah. Let's see. We got. I think my network collection is reaching final stages of completion.
Well, I asked him a question, and I said, "How many network films? How many network titles are there, and how far away from you from?"
Oh yeah, he didn't want to get them all, does he?
Basically, he doesn't want to get them all. So, as far as I know, I've got no idea how far away he is because he doesn't want them all.
If he's near final stages, he must have all planned out what he wants. I
Because
presume.
the one thing I wanted him to do was if he's so big on the network titles, I was hoping that he knew of a website that says this is all the network titles, right? So the
Yeah,
people, so he could educate us all. Oh, right, you can get
yeah,
all of them, because then you're not far away from finishing your collection. Because the trouble is, he's going to come across a title one day without knowing it and go, "Oh, I didn't know network did that." And then he'll buy it, and he'll know that he's another 4 or
yeah,
5 away now because he's just
yeah,
found this one that was under the network name. So, I must admit, I'm one of these people that if I know of if I'm collecting something, I have to know there's a beginning and an end. I
yeah,
have to know there's a beginning or an end,
yeah,
or a beginning and it's ongoing, right?
yeah,
Otherwise, I can't say whether I'm how far away I am.
yeah,
It's like if I'm a Spider-Man collector, I know it starts off at Amazing Fantasy 15 and it's ongoing now. And there's
yeah,
a big website that will tell me this is all of them, so I can tick them off.
yeah,
So I'm glad that he likes doing it the way that he does, because that shows a collector
yeah,
that's strong in mind to know
yeah,
I'm happy just to have these.
yeah,
I can't stand it if I've got one miss. If I was buying, it's those Exorcist titles, right? If you know that the Exorcist 1 is the first one, or the Exorcist Begins or whatever it is, and you know that Exorcist 4 or whatever it is the last one, I
yeah.
know I have to have everything in between, and it doesn't matter
And that
that
includes Exorcist
it
2.
doesn't matter that Exorcist 2 is the biggest pile of shit
Yeah,
going.
yeah,
I have to have it because
yeah.
that's the only way I know that I've got the whole lot.
I can't do that now. I've learned you can't. For me, as a collector, I'm
Like
not. I
carry on,
suppose I'm not a collector now.
like Carry On films. If somebody says, "Oh, Carry On Columbus is the last one. The first one is Carry On Sergeant," I have to have everything in
Yeah,
between.
you've got Carry On Columbus. Yeah,
I have to have every
yeah.
one.
I don't. I don't. No.
So, and
I,
that's and that's and,
yeah,
and that's really good that you've got that control where you can go,
yeah,
"I don't give a shit," because
yeah,
I haven't got that control. I have to go,
yeah,
"Oh, there's a gap in my shelf. Fuck that."
yeah. I'm sure though mine is often really based on me as my budget rather than if I had more freedom, maybe I'd be thinking, oh, maybe I could get that. But I
Oh,
think now
sod the
I have
budget.
learned
No,
that
sod the budget.
you don't need everything. I'm
Sod the
thinking,
budget. I have to have it. I'll just get a
yeah, I
loan.
know, but you see, I couldn't do that. I'd be um
I'd be
I just
selling
can't.
something. I'd
Yeah,
be selling something to get something else. Honestly, I
yeah.
would.
You see, I couldn't do that. I see all these lovely, like my favorite films and that. You see, like Blade Runner. I'd think, oh, look at that really nice Blade Runner set. I bet you think, oh, I've got to have that, and you were made to buy it. But I
No,
don't. I kept thinking, well, what is the
no,
point now
I'd
of
be
that?
going. What I'd be going. What Blade Runner set? And why haven't I got it?
Yes,
That's what I'd be
exactly,
saying.
exactly. I can't.
Do you know something I don't know or something? Turn up.
Exactly. I can't do that. Even if I had the money, I think I'd get to a point where I'm thinking, I can't do this. I can't go on like this. Let's get it ridiculous.
Listen, Ian. I'm one of those people where I bow my head down and I go. Anybody that can turn around and say, "I'm happy with what I'm doing and I'm
Yeah,
happy
you
with
have
my
to.
connection," then
Yeah, you have to.
I'm in awe of you because
Yeah,
I don't have that switch off.
yeah,
I don't have
yeah,
it. It's like I've got to
y-
have it all.
yeah. Well, it's like I've got the DVD of all the. I think it's the
Well,
5
I'm going to ask you,
version.
but I'm going to ask you a question, Ian. Have you bought a season 2 of something before you've bought season 1?
Oh, that's a good question.
I can't do that. It's like,
Do you know,
oh
I
my
don't think I
god,
have.
I can't know. I can't buy season 2 hoping that one day I'll find season 1 of something. No, I've got to know that I've got the
Uh,
hardest one to get and then go around it. You know what I mean? I cannot do that.
yeah,
I cannot buy season 2 without
yeah.
having season 1 first.
Well, it's like I'm thinking. You see, here's an example that has got on my brain is Picard was 3 seasons, and I bought the first season, and I wasn't that pleased with it, but I bought it, and then I thought, oh crikey, I'm not getting 2, and I ought to get 3. I think I might. I've been trying to convince myself that I should get 3 because it's like the last.
3 is brilliant.
It's like a reunion of the whole cast, so I should get it. But I won't get 2. There's no way I'm going to buy 2. Now, a completionist will be saying, well, you've got to have 2. You know, Q appears in it. You know, there's all that. But I said, no, I wasn't very good at it. I didn't.
Well, I honestly, I bow to you, Ian, because I can't do that.
I bet you've got 2, haven't you?
I've got all 3, yeah.
I know you'll have 3, but I bet
but I've got them on Steelbook, all 3.
Oh God, yeah.
I bought all 5 seasons of Discovery, and I can't stand that shit.
Yeah. I know. I've stopped. I've got 3.
I tell you what, I got to the end of season 3 and stopped. And went,
that's where I've stopped.
I am not going to watch any. I am not going to watch any more of this shit. And what did I do? I went and bought all the bloody seasons in Steelbook form.
Daft. Why buy that? It's just daft to me. I can't understand it. Really. I mean, I felt daft. Somewhere inside me sometimes now I'm thinking, well, next time I go to CEX, maybe I might sell that. But I don't know. I haven't quite got to that level yet. The 3 that I've got.
Jim Jam and I had a conversation the other day, and I said, look, I'm really getting into the Doctor in Charge.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Now, today I went to World of Books, right? And I was looking to see whether there was anything that I wanted to buy, and I typed in Doctor In, right?
Yeah. And
Doctor in the House came up.
Yeah.
Right? And there was a complete season of Doctor in the House.
Yeah.
55 quid. And there was a season 2 that was $8.99. Now, what I'm trying to say is, I can't afford 55 quid, but there's no way in this wide world am I buying a season 2 in the hope that I'm going to find season 1, 3, 4, and 5. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah,
it's an out of print.
Yeah, I'd go for season 2 if I wanted. I'd say to myself, I want a representation of that series. I'm not paying all that. So I'll happily get a representation, which is season 2. And I'd be happy with that. That's how my logic would work. And I've done that. If there's things I think, well, I can't afford to get all them. It's too expensive. But if I can get a representation of, say, 1 season, I'll be happy. I'll do that.
And the way my brain works is I'd be going to bed going, I've got season 2 and I ain't got all the others. I can't sleep. I need all the others. Where am I going to get season 1, 3, 4, and 5 from?
Would you 55 quid? There you are.
I'd be like that.
Would you be tempted to pay 55 quid?
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't touch it for 55 quid. And I wouldn't buy season 2 for $8.95, knowing I can't get 1 free.
Yeah, you see, I would. I would buy it because I think I do want this. Say it's series I want.
Well, no, because
it's better than no.
But if you bought Doctor in the House, the thing is, then you're going to need to look for Doctor in Charge.
Yeah,
because that came before it.
Yeah, that's it.
And you'll be going and then you're going to turn around and go, I can't find any Doctor in Charge. Oh shit! Now I've got this 1 season, and I can't find
like that.
You see, that's the thing. My brain's going, oh bloody hell! Where am I going to get the money now for Doctor? And where am I going to find them all? I'll have to go on. I'll have to go on Fleabay. Oh look, somebody's selling Doctor in Charge for 100 quid, and I'll have to come out and buy the 100 quid.
Yeah, but you wouldn't pay 100 quid.
And it'll be DVDs, and I'm going 100 quid for DVDs. Shit.
No, you're not going to pay that.
And do you know what would happen? Would happen? A month later, they'll all come out under the old label, right? At 40 quid, and I'll be going, Jesus Christ, I just spent 60 quid on that.
Exactly. Now, what if money was no problem? Would you buy them then at
problem.
100
If
quid?
money's no problem, who gives a shit? You can get them
No,
from
but
wherever
you wouldn't buy, you wouldn't pay 100 quid. Say you could afford it, you would never pay it. It didn't make any difference. It just, you were so rich. Oh yeah, I could
Listen,
afford that. Would you buy it?
there has been stuff that I've bought over the top, right? No word of a doubt, right?
Yeah.
They have been things that I've been looking for 2 or 3 years,
Oh right, yeah.
right? Or I've always said if that ever turned up, I'd get it instantly. That's where the Martian Chronicles came from.
Yeah, yeah.
I'd waited 10 years. And I went, that's on Blu-ray, it's in Australia, I'll get it. Right?
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm so glad that there's people like you and Jim Jam in the world, because Jim Jam said to me, I'd like the Never Ending Story as a collector's set, but I'm paying 150 quid for it.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that you could put the brakes on.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, somebody tells me that my favorite film is over in Australia and it's the biggest, best collector's set that you'll ever see in your life.
You'd
And it's
be
never
there
gonna get
on
better.
getting it.
I'd be there going, when
Yeah.
do you want the credit card details?
Yeah.
I'll tell them you now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But then again, I am also of the mind that I've never ever done a Kickstarter. I've never put my money into a Kickstarting regime where, oh, we're thinking about bringing this out. We need to get our goal of 500,000. Otherwise,
oh, right. I get it.
right.
Yeah.
Right. I've never put my money into a Kickstarter that says,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, we're going to do a restoration of Sapphire and Steel on 4K and we need 500,000 and blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. I've never put my money into those things. No,
I don't blame you.
and I'm not a Patreon. I don't have a Patreon account.
I don't agree with Patreon that much. I know some people have it, but
it doesn't matter how much, and it could be my best friend.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be a Patreon owner.
No, quite right. Yeah. Anyhow, we're getting behind. But my movies, I'll pick Critters box up when it's in a sale. That's sensible. Yeah. Don't think they warrant 55 quid. I agree. That's best time if you can find a good sale.
And you know what, with the amount of stuff that I've seen announced this week.
Yeah.
And stuff that's been announced in the last 3 months leading up to Christmas. I'm surprised anybody is turning around and saying that they're going to buy Critters at 55 quid, right? Because there's Interstellar, there's Nightmare on Elm Street, there's The Producers, there's
all these box
Saddles, there's North by North. Do you remember North by Northwest I told you about 9 months ago, 10 months ago? That's all out before Christmas. There's and every single one of these are 30 quid plus box sets.
Yes.
You know what was released today? No, on the 1st of October, Godzilla -1 came out in 2 editions, right? It came out as a steelbook for 30 quid and it came out as a digi collector set for £68.99.
Oh, 68. Oh,
£68.99. And I'm going, and some people that are on Facebook said, yeah, I've ordered both. And I'm going, Jesus Christ.
You must have some money to burn there.
Well, the other, I mean, at the end of the day, I ordered the steelbook. I didn't order the £68.90. I'm not that much into Godzilla.
No.
Do you know what I mean? And fair play to people that can do that, but I have not got.
Yeah, I mean, if people got the money, you can spend it how you want. And that's how it is.
But you know me, I turned around to you and said last week, I said, I bought the motion picture again on Steelbook from the
I know. It's crackers.
Right, because I've got the most comprehensive, complete version you can get. But as soon as they said it's coming out on Steelbook, I went, yeah, all right.
Yeah.
I'll have it.
I know. That is an obsession. Anyhow, Tony says, not seen the One Life film Del sent you, Ian. I believe it was partially set in pre-World War II Czechoslovakia. Yeah. Have either of you seen any of the various films depicting the assassination of the Nazi ruler? No, where's his next bit? Here we are down here. Of Czechoslovakia. I have three. Oh, Operation Daybreak, 1975.
Anthropoid?
Anthropoid, 2016. And Man with the Iron Heart, 2017.
Operation
Okay, interesting.
Daybreak rings a bell, but I don't know whether I've seen. I don't think I've seen
Wow.
Anthropoid, and I definitely haven't seen A Man with the Iron Heart. No.
Wow. And they're interesting bits of the war, aren't they? The Czechoslovakia bit to that. Yeah.
I said to you, didn't I? When I bought
Yeah.
that film, I said it's unusual to see a piece about before World War II.
Yeah.
Leading up to World War II.
Yeah, those months and days before are very interesting.
It's always the war has started and this happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or the war has come to it, or the war was going and it came to an end and this happened afterwards, right? This was what happened before the war and what happened 50 years later.
Yeah.
I thought it was an unusual piece, and that's why I had to buy it. And then when I watched it, I thought, you'll love this. And I just went.
I mean, the real point of these things is that people discover a bit more history, I think, which I think is really good. I think it's refreshing to see. We always see a lot from our viewpoint, easy how it's done, but it's interesting to see other bits, I mean, really, the 1936 onwards is the real, everything's happening from then, because that's when Hitler makes his first move, Spanish Civil War starts. It's all, so those years, that's only, 1939, that's only 3 years that we get a world war effectively breaking out in over 3 years. I mean, 33, you could say, is when Hitler came into
I
power.
still mean to get the World at War Blu-ray. I still want to get that set, and I still haven't got around to buying it.
It's the narration with that it's somewhat special. So anyhow, let's see. Anyhow, thanks, Tony, for that. I didn't realize that there was amazing that there's other films about this assassination. And then Jim Jam says, I watched Bless This House film for the first time last night.
That's with Terry Scott. Yeah.
And
it's got the guy from the Confessions films, hasn't it, as the lad?
Oh,
and Jackie, obviously, Jackie.
Muckman says, I'd recommend the World War II. Yeah, it's popped up again. Anthropoid, which is also set in Czechoslovakia and stars Cillian Murphy. That sounds like a good film. It's a good actor.
I have to start writing these down again.
Anthropoid.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound. It's funny. That sounds like a sort of sci-fi kind of film, but it's not. Obviously, it's
like in Seminoid.
Historical film.
Yeah.
Personally, I think old films are better than new modern films.
I think they're getting that way.
Yeah.
I always used to think it's nice going back to an old film, and the new films are where we are today, right?
Yeah.
I'm so dismayed by what I see today that I'm now more in one foot in the grave, 1 foot in the past.
Yeah, well, I am definitely.
And I have than I have been at any other time of watching film. So I have to turn around and say, you know what? Same here.
Yeah.
And I'm only talking the state of 5 or 10 years. That's made me think that.
I mean, to me now, I'm thinking, I'd like to watch films from 1930s because I watched them as a kid. A lot of them are these old films were on the TV. Because you didn't get modern films then.
You're in them.
You had to wait blooming years for a film to come on that was sort of modern. So you're watching all these old films.
You were in them, weren't you?
Yeah, no, we're in them, of course. Of course, I was starring in them.
Yeah, you were the Wizard of Oz, weren't you?
Yeah, I remember saying, "Hi, Judy. Yeah, how's it going? Yeah, how's it going? Hey, hello, Humphrey. Hello, Humphrey Bogart. Where's Lauren? Now, Lauren Bacall. Oh, where is she? Oh, yeah. Oh, where's Betty? Oh, where's Bette Davis? Brilliant." Right. Oh yeah, that's what
Yeah,
we had about the Czechoslovakia. Muckman, I was too slow typing. Don't worry. I'm slow at reading these. Um, you snooze, you lose. Dear. Ian is keeping Amazon in business through other people's purchases. Yeah, that's a good one.
I know, like me.
Yeah, I know. I have to keep them in business.
What can I buy Ian this week? That's the first thing I thought.
Del, your blogs are part of my weekly schedule. They are of mine. I admit.
That's very nice.
I always, if I had a diary, I always put Sunday Del's blog. It's always there. It's true. Seriously, I always think
it was shorter this week. It was shorter this week.
Yeah, I was saying, what's he going on about now? Then, yeah.
Shorter by about 25 minutes, I think.
Yeah, I nearly said a terrible joke, but that would be a terrible joke.
What did you?
I won't say it. Go on, I'll say.
Did you need to go to the toilet quickly?
Yeah. How many heart attacks have you had? That is a terrible joke. I know.
Oh, bloody hell! I would have laughed at it though. I would have laughed at it.
It's an awful joke, but
I would have laughed at that.
What can you say? No, seriously, folks, it always gets to a point where I can always plug your channel. And if watching this and have never watched Delboy's blog, then please go across and watch it. It is absolutely brilliant. It really is, absolutely. And his link hopefully is in there, and I sometimes check, and if I haven't put it in, I'll put it in after it's done. So please, if you have not, there's only 7 people watching, so probably most.
I was going to say, I'm always surprised, right? And I'm really happy that he always supports me and he says these things. But he always says them when there's about 5 viewers. When there used to just come down. I said, what's wrong with doing it at the height of people watching? Than 5 people watching. What's all that about?
It's gone back up to 8. So there we are. So,
you know what I mean? You could have said it 5 minutes later. It'd have been better.
Actually, tonight I won't go into it, but we don't seem to have had as many tonight. Our audience is a bit smaller.
Yeah, but I think probably something else is going on.
And Tony says, I want to see if those shelves that Ian's left have collapsed under the weight of those DVDs. Well, Tony, this afternoon I've been, all those DVDs you sent me. I managed to get quite a few boxes, and I've boxed quite a few up. But I've still got a load, and I've got worn out doing it. I spent all afternoon doing it, but I've done it.
Listen,
I'll have to wait for the next one.
Hang on. Can you two get a room, please? Because I don't want to keep it. I don't want to hear about what gifts that you sent to each other. When I'm here with an empty can of Coke, right? That's all I've got, right?
What can you
do? I'm lucky if somebody sends me a club biscuit in the post, let alone 50 frigging films, right? So you can have your little chat outside of this, you two bastards.
What can you do with him? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Oh yeah. Right.
It's a good job I don't know where Tony bloody lives, because I'll be sending
Del, as a lead zombie. Oh yeah, well, yeah.
I told you, everybody in Leeds is a zombie.
It was yours. I remember you saying about that lead zombie, indeed. Knowing you all over the 60s, Ian, I'm halfway through a series I think you'd enjoy. Oh, Pennyworth. It's the story of the origins of Batman's butler, but in an alternate history, 60s, 70s of England. Well, that sounds interesting. Of England as well, not American. Wow.
Well, because obviously the butler for Bruce Wayne is an English butler.
Is it Sean Pertwee?
No, he was in Gotham.
Oh, right. This is a
which
different
which
actor.
which was pre-Batman because he looked after him when his mother and father got killed.
Yeah.
You should think it's to do with him going to butler school and so forth.
Yeah. Yeah.
That'd be before then. So
Yeah. Have you seen Pennyworth then?
no,
All right. Hmm. I'm interested because it's saying an alternative history.
I've heard of it. I'll look it up. I've heard of it, but
Yeah.
I haven't. I can tell you now, I haven't seen it.
But
Yeah,
an
look,
alternative history sounds interesting, doesn't it?
well, it's an house. In other words, it's an Elseworld story.
Yeah.
Pennyworth. There you are. Pennyworth season 1 trailer. Pennyworth TV series. There we go.
What years is that? Is that recent?
It came out in 2019 to 2021.
Oh, is it cancelled?
Oh yeah, 2 seasons. Marketed as Pennyworth, the origin of Batman's butler, for its third season is an American television series that premiered in 2019.
Yeah.
Based on DC Comics Batman. The series was developed for television and is executive producer. Yeah, blah 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 blah
Yeah.
blah. The series was serving as a prequel to Gotham. Yeah, that's the Gotham.
Right, I get you. Yeah.
I told you I knew about it.
Yeah.
The second season began filming in 2020, but the filming was paused in March due to COVID. The second premiered. It was announced that the series would premiere for its third season, though it would still continue to air on Epix. The third season premiered in 2022 and concluded in 2022. In February 2023, the series was cancelled.
Oh, typical. Typical. Oh, well. There we are. Right.
Good.
Good.
Less DC shit on the street.
Yeah. I wish there wouldn't. Nobody ever gets a chance, do they? But,
no, did you hear what I said? I said good. Less DC shit on the TV.
Oh yeah. Well, you're a
Marvel with a rise of Marvel. Yeah.
I don't bother. It don't matter either. And then Frank Calder says, "Hello all. Hello.
Hello, Frank.
Thank you."
I don't know if he's had any more problems putting any blog questions.
Oh, yeah. It's not says, "Hi, Frank." Tony says, "Evening, Frank." Question to everyone: Muckman movies. What's your favorite film of all time? Oh, it's one of these questions. It's one of those difficult ones.
Yeah, but we've already answered it week after week. I mean, I turned around and said it's going to be Blade Runner, it's going to be Star Trek: The Motion Picture. It's very difficult because when a person has got so many films, it's hard to say, right, my number one in science fiction, my number one in comedy, my number one in drama, because it changes. I always used to turn around and say, if you've got a book like this, right, book of like all the films up to 2015, and it's that thick, and you can turn around and say, I've got a third of these films, right? How can that means you've got a big chunk of movie cinema, and basically every single one is like your child. It's like, oh, I love it. I wouldn't have bought it if I didn't like it. I mean, I love Laurel and Hardy films, and I can tell you now the Music Box is my favorite Laurel and Hardy film. But does that mean that I don't like Harold Lloyd and Charlie Chaplin and Buster Keaton and all of those? And is Charlie Chaplin's I don't know City Lights better than Music Box? And there'll be so many people that would say, but the technical merits of City Lights is so much better than the Music Box, and I'll be turning around and say, but Music Box is much more funnier than City Lights. And then you get into that argument of which is better, and I go, do you know what? They're both brilliant. So I find it difficult to turn around and say, is Blade Runner my number one when the motion picture is the most watched film I've ever watched in my life, and all of that sort of stuff. You know, I mean, I love Jaws. I love Close Encounters of the Third Kind. I love Planet of the Apes. It's got one of the most best shock endings I've ever seen in my life. I love, it just goes on and on and on. So I will have to turn around and say to you, it's bound sure to be Some Like It Hot Some Like It Hot, Star Trek the Motion Picture, or just mentioned it just now, Blade Runner. Right? It's going to bound sure to be one of those three. And throw Planet of the Apes in. Right? Those four. That's all I can say. What about you then? What's your favorite?
Well, I mean, what can I say?
Of all time.
Of all time, I can't. There's films that I think are fantastic, but it's more than it's about. 10. It's like you could say. It's like saying to me, what is my favorite horror film? I have problems doing that. So, favorite film of all time, I could easily say, "Oh, The Exorcist," but then I could easily say something like The Devil Rides Out, which I absolutely love.
Yeah.
First Dracula, Universal Dracula, Frankenstein. There's so many. How can you, Suspiria? There's so many. How can you say what is your favorite film of all time? I can't. I mean, I could say like you. I could say Blade Runner. Blade Runner is one of those films that it was such a major film for me when I went to see it. It was one of those event films that we talked about, seeing Blade Runner. Same as Star Trek, the motion picture, same with that. But then there's other films that I absolutely love that not everybody else would see as a great picture. I love, and I'm not ashamed to say it, I love Dune 1984. For some reason, I absolutely love it. And most people would say it's a terrible, flawed film, but I absolutely love it. And I'm not ashamed to say it. But then I always say another film that I go mad about that I absolutely love is The Dead Zone. I've talked about that before. Yeah. The Dead Zone is such a great picture. It spawned a TV series as well. It's one of the. It's for me, it's just a great film. But to say it's my favorite film of all time, for one film, I can't do it.
Yeah.
There's so many.
Like I said, it's so difficult.
There's those so-called the iconic films. It's like I think Close Encounters of the Third Kind is an absolute masterpiece. I absolutely love that. In many ways, if you ask me for my favorite Spielberg film, I might just give Close Encounters of the Third Kind because I absolutely adore it. But it may, it can change. Spielberg has done a lot of great films, including, of course, you say Jaws, but
yeah, some people will say Jurassic Park, and it just goes on and on and on.
Yeah, so. Exactly. Bride of Frankenstein, the sequel, is perhaps considered greater than the first Frankenstein, which is an absolute brilliant film.
Well, that's because it is.
Yeah,
Bride of Frankenstein is better than Frankenstein.
It's one of those, and what can I say? I'm sorry, it's a terrible answer, but for me, I cannot give you a best film of all time because there isn't one. There's so many. It's like if you said do a top 10, I struggle on a top 10.
Oh, honestly, I know.
A top 10. I'm struggling. I'm going, oh, crank! I've got to leave that out.
I have the hardest job in the world when somebody turns around and says, "Name your top 10. Name your top 5." In my blogs.
Top 5. I've done it to you, but top 5 is ridiculous. I do it myself. I just top 5 films, and I'm thinking.
I just turn around and say that there's over 1 million films, and you're asking me to narrow it down to one.
Yeah,
it's impossible.
Yeah,
and if I did name it, the next week it'd be a different film.
Yeah,
because I'd have thought twice about it and gone, how could I have turned around and said that without saying that? Because somebody might turn around and say Blade Runner's my number 1 film, and then next week they go, oh, hang on a minute, I saw Alien.
Yeah,
I love Alien.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And we immediately go, yeah, I agree with you, and then you go, oh yeah, I agree with you. I mean, Phil, the great thing about these films is that they're all personal to us, and when you have a lot, you think, I can't miss that one out. You know, I mean, I know The Dead Zone is perhaps not the greatest film in the world, but it is to me. I think it's perhaps one of the great films. But it's personal as well. It's how you see it and what you love. And as they do 1984, most people think it's a very flawed film, but I don't care. I love it. You know, I prefer it to new one. And new one I know is brilliant. You know, and I know the new films. It's just it's a personal experience. I think
Yeah.
sometimes it really is. And
Can't
therefore,
argue-
to narrow it
I
down,
can't argue. I mean, I can't argue with that. I mean, you know, at the end of the day, you know, Dead Zone, piece of shit. So's June. But you know, I mean, but if you like them, then you know, what can I say? You know, I mean, that's how it is. I mean, you know,
I would say
the rest of the world is looking at you, going, "You're nuts."
no, well, no, maybe not, because they're saying it's a
And
Cronenberg film.
the other
Cronenberg
half
is
of
his
the
most
other half of
commercial film.
the other half of the world is saying that you're a genius. There you
Yeah.
are.
And of course, I'll be controversial. Well, it's not controversial because there's quite a few people who would probably support me. The 2001 Space Odyssey is the most overrated.
Bollocks! You know full well that it's not.
Going.
We've
It
had this
really
talk.
is.
We've had this talk before. Just because you're
I thought I'd just get that in.
just because you're losing your noggin doesn't mean you have to actually bring it into this conversation. Go back to your fish fingers and Captain Birdeye adverts, will you? Let's move on.
Yeah. Right. People say it's a masterpiece. I wouldn't put it on my mantelpiece. Bloody
Yeah, I mean, it might be on your mantelpiece at Christmas because it's given in the post to you.
Mine is Aliens. I knew that's a very popular one, but my contention would be that Alien is better than Aliens. I think Aliens is far better.
This is where some people.
But it's just subjective. It's just subjective.
This used to be on the polls, right, of the internet since the internet began, which is best sequels to films, where the sequel is better than the original, right?
Yeah.
And so many people used to put, Aliens is better than Alien, and some people would turn around and go, "You're crazy," right? At the end of the day, I love them both, and at the end of the day, I look at it like this: Alien is a singular point of solitude film, and Aliens is about all-out war against millions of them, right? And you couldn't hope for a better two films because they cover both fan bases.
Yeah,
you've got the fan base that wants just
horror.
Solitude, an alien going after the crew one by one, and then you've got another one, bloody mass murder, shitloads of them.
Yeah,
all coming at you, right? And the other thing about it is there's 4 or 5 years between them. Right, so film had moved on, so the special effects could be done to have more than one. I mean, at the end of the day, Aliens' budget was sky high, and then he had a man in a suit, right, in a rubber suit. Aliens, same amount of money, and yet you've got shitloads of aliens in it, coming at you, right? So the stars aligned, and you've got 2 great films, and 2 films that I would turn around and say, do you know what? This is a time where you can watch both films and enjoy both.
Yeah.
You've got your best one, right?
Yeah.
And as far as I'm concerned, what a time to be a film goer.
Yeah.
Right? So I look at it like that. I don't look at it which one was better and the second one's better than the first and all this bollocks.
Yeah.
The first one is it knocks the ball out the because nobody had seen anything like that.
Exactly. I went to see it at cinema and thought exactly that. That for me was, even though it wouldn't be for everybody, that was an event film for me, because I sat there and thought, wow, Alien, wow, this film is just something special. I loved it. I loved it because it was sci-fi, but then the horror. I mean, what better combination could you have? That's why it just clicked.
I swore blind when I saw the Nostromo going past that planet with the rings that they were in our solar system, and that was Saturn. So
Yeah.
these aliens aren't too far away. I
Yeah.
thought to myself,
We'll
right?
start worrying.
For years and years and years, I didn't know what bloody galaxy they're in. All I know is they went to sleep and came back and opened, they were awake and all that sort of stuff, and that they were doing the job. I was thinking to myself, Christ, companies will go bankrupt in 2 years at the moment. What's the chances of them coming back with with all of this stuff before the company's gone bankrupt? They send them off into space and they come back 20 years later. The company would have gone bust about 15 times over by the time they got back. So how does that work? You know what I mean? I literally thought they were in our house.
All I would say is that Alien. All you have to just say is John Hurt, and everybody goes, "Yeah,
yeah."
That's all you have to say. That's all you have to say, and that shows you the power of that film.
And what a genius director to turn around and say, "I ain't going to tell nobody about this scene."
Yeah, it's amazing.
The only person who knows about it is John Hurt, and I've told him not to tell anybody. Right, there you go. Okay. That's genius. That is, get the reaction out of the actor by basically telling no bugger.
Directed. Brilliant. Let's see what else we got. Jaws for me. Yeah, well, a lot of people. Jaws is always there, but it's with so many. Jaws.
And yet, I'll tell you what. 20 years ago, hardly anybody would be mentioning Jaws.
You think so? I don't know.
I've got a funny feeling. As much as I love Jaws, and I've always loved Jaws, and I've had Jaws on Laserdisc, the bloody, the big Laserdisc box set, 110 quid and all of that. If you would, people, I swear, people 10, 15 years ago, they would have turned around and said Jurassic Park and all of this sort of stuff as the best Spielberg film. They would be thinking. They would not be thinking Jaws. They'd be thinking, "Oh, that's old hat. That is."
Yeah, maybe as well. People had forgotten he directed it. It could have happened because they'd just forgotten.
Right.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to get at is I think that a young audience has cottoned on to how good Jaws is. The old audience knew how good Jaws was. These two have all banded together, and all of a sudden, Jaws is now whoa, right? It's in vogue. Do you see what I mean? It wasn't in vogue 15 years ago. I'm pretty sure of it. If you went into a chat room and started talking about films, nobody would be talking Jaws.
Yeah.
They'd be talking about the films of the day, and then,
I think
it'd be the films that are coming out, and probably 10 years back further than what
I think Spielberg's filmography says it all. Just look at all the films that he's made. That's all you need to say, really. Muckman says it's been a terrible week for actors' deaths. Yeah, Maggie Smith, Chris Christopherson, John Amos, Lockup, and John Ashton, Beverly Hills Cops. Yeah, it does happen sometimes. It's, increasingly all these in one week.
Yeah, I think it was John Amos that was the last one that I saw this week, and
It just sadly, it's something that will happen as we go along increasingly. I didn't realize Chris Christopherson was as old as he was. I don't know.
We were only talking about
quite a long time.
We were only talking about him in Millennium the other day.
And I love Millenniums, another film that nobody mentions or knows about, but Millennium, what a film. I always love that one. But
so John Amos,
what it is you
have Martin Lee's died from Brotherhood of Man. You've had John Ashton.
That's it. We got that.
Chris Christopherson.
Chris Christopherson.
Obviously, a couple of weeks before. Then you've got Chris
Maggie Smith, of course, is a big one.
You've had Chris Searle, who used to do That's Life and the computer show. You've had the bloke who did the voice of Thunderbirds and the Daleks, David Graham. He died.
I saw that.
And then a week before that, you had Kenneth Cope, and you had
it's Maggie Smith. Maggie
you had
Smith.
you had Kenneth Cope and you had James Earl Jones.
Yeah.
And I'm talking so that means in the last 4 weeks I've just mentioned there around about 8, 9, 10 names.
Yeah.
That's my Facebook. All it says is RIP, RIP, RIP. Italian at the moment. Yeah, bad. I told you my childhood gets smaller and smaller.
Tony says, mine's tied in with Michael Caine question from earlier. We know that it's Zulu. Yes, of course. What else could it be, Tony?
Shut up with Zulu.
Yeah.
Bloody hell. Go back to bed or something.
Great film.
Start putting another 50 DVDs in a box and sending it off to some bastard who doesn't deserve it. Go
on. Jaws. Perhaps Jaws might swim round to a certain area if he's feeling hungry. Delboy is waiting, Jaws.
I got Jaws, thank you. That again.
Muckman Movies. Oh, thank you, Jim Jam. I didn't see your comment about my videos. Much appreciated. For thank you. Jaws is my number 4. Oh,
I liked one of Muckman Movies, right? And I said, "Oh, look, first like," and he turned around and said, "Where's my like?" I went, "What are you on about? I put a like in." I was the first one there. I put a like
there. Go on then, Tony. What is your number 1? Oh, we know that. What is the goriest scene you've seen in a film? Oh,
bound sure to be something like Dawn of the Dead with the body being ripped in half, or it's bound sure to be, like I say, be Dawn of the Dead with the body being ripped in half, or it's going to be Brain Dead with the bloke eating the brains out of a top of the head, with its head, with the top of the head hanging off, or something like. I don't tend to find films gory. I just go, that's you know, you could turn around and say the alien ripping that android in half. If you didn't know it was an android, you'd think that was bloody gory. Half his guts were hanging out. You know, while Sigourney was trying to kill the alien with a bloody great big lumberjack, great big, you know, forklift truck thing that she was seeing. But you know, you've got the Thing, you know, with all of the prosthetic, the dog turning into all sorts of different creatures. You've got.
What about the Final Destination films? They've got some.
Oh, you go for Final Destination 5, don't you? An awful lot.
There's some great ones in there. Somebody gets sliced in half, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to Saw with the bloody great big thing that breaks your bloody jaw in half with that thing that's sort of like spring.
I don't think you can measure which is the goriest. They're all pretty gory. I don't think I can pick one out. I don't think there's one to pick out, to be honest.
I'll tell you, I'm more in awe of the ingenuity than I am with the gory.
Yeah, so am I.
Which is why I think sort of films like George A. Romero's Dawn of the Dead, when it's the 1970s and you're seeing a bloke being ripped apart by pulling him from his feet, and then seeing them all, and you're seeing his stomach sort of like just ply apart. That's where I'm going.
Those practical effects.
Yeah, that's gory. Yeah,
there's just so many. I don't think I can pick one out. I'm sorry, it's just one of those things.
But eating someone's brains at the top of his head has got to be
pretty gory, I would have thought. Yeah.
Even if you know it's just red jam.
Yeah. Tony Hawk says Ian knows he'll let you in on the secret. I think we know what it is. Yeah. Zulu.
Ah, that's the film, Harry Brown. That's
Harry
the one I
Brown.
was trying to tell
It's
you
got
about,
a
Harry
Bruce
Brown.
Jane film. Ah, right. Yes. Tony. That's the one.
That's the one.
Yeah, everybody knows Zulu.
Bloody hell, how many times are we going to mention Zulu tonight?
Yeah, as many times as we want, we can mention Zulu. Harry Brown is great. There you are.
Bloody well is.
Very well thought of that one. You spoilt it now. There we are. And Muckman Movies. Favorite Marvel Steelbook then, Delhi? Well,
right.
I think the first Doctor Strange Steelbook was fantastic. Lots of embossing on it, and it looked like the book from the film.
Well, the most impressive and probably one of the most expensive Marvel Steelbooks I ever bought.
I'll let Delboy go on. I'll be back in a.
Yeah, came from Zavi. It was a great big massive sort of like, what's the word? Very soft sort of like rubber outside, and you press the button and it lit up. And they did them in the mold of Miss Marvel, Spider-Man. I think it was the second one, so it was Far Away Home, something like that. The second one. They did an Avengers one as well. It's really hard to say, but it was a very thick box type thing. And the front covers, like I say, had a light up feature. When you press the button, they lit up. And inside there was a steel book along with a load of other stuff. And those are my favorite versions of the steel books, just purely from the deluxe packaging. But the best steel book design, probably going to be the very first Avengers, actually, with that black swashed black steel book with just the A on it, and it's got the pictures of the Avengers along the spine. But the A, all it does is just have a great big A on the front for the very first Avengers film. It's a lovely looking steel book. But like I say, I've got so many of the Marvel ones. I've bought Mondo editions, and I've bought special Zavi editions and box sets and collector sets and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I'm going to go with those deluxe ones that came from Zavi that basically had a light up feature. As my favorite collector set, and the very first Avengers film as my favorite steel book, probably because the simplistic design of that A on the front in black, and it was glossy black, was just so nice. But I know what you're saying when it comes to Doctor Strange. Maybe I've just answered that.
Thank you. Yeah, good.
I prolonged it as long as I could while you went for a shit.
Mind you, you've got so many. Yeah, you did manage to find a few, I would imagine. Easy.
It's remembering what they look like.
Yeah. You got so many. Yeah. Frank Holder. In Delboy, what complete classic sci-fi box set would you recommend? That is
the original Planet of the Apes box set.
Oh yeah, that's a very good one.
Yeah. Films.
I totally agree with that. It's excellent value. You get a good Blu-ray.
You'd get that for 15 quid and still have money for another box set.
Yeah, I can't. I think that's the answer, because it's such a brilliant film. I don't think there's any other that would compete with that in terms.
I'll tell you what, you could buy the very first 5 Planet of the Apes, right? Very first Planet of the Apes, 15 quid it'll cost you, right? Mm-hmm. And then you could buy the 4K of 2001, the best science fiction, right? Box set.
One of the worst science fiction films.
Shut your face, full well why I'm saying it. 2001.
Yeah, it's the sort of film that if you fancy, having trouble sleeping, you've had a lot of sleeping problems, just stick 2000.
Shut your face with
It's
You could do that.
Get your doctor to prescribe it.
You could do that. You could do that later on in life with Zulu, right? You old fart.
Go,
right? No, honestly, you could probably buy with the remaining box set money. You could probably buy the Aliens box set. You know, with all. You know, all of them together, you know, because I'm pretty sure you can buy them on, because you're talking Blu-ray, not 4K or anything like that.
Yeah.
You're talking Blu-ray.
Yeah.
So from a Blu-ray point of view, you could probably buy all the Aliens. Including Prometheus.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And Bookman Movie says The Hustler, Del.
Yeah, there we are. Remember, I couldn't remember what that
between
with facts and everything in it.
League of Gentlemen 1960 is a good comedy drama. Oh, Billy Liar, and of course Kez. I mean, Kez, what can you say about Kez? Just brilliant, you know.
Well, other than it's an up north overwritten drama.
Here we go. There's always. Have you noticed these southern softies? There's always that bit of jealousy about, you know, how good Yorkshire is. There's always that jealousy. You can see it. There he is. You can see it. It's always there, isn't it? It's sad, really, but there we are. What do you expect? Off-piste.
Land of bloody Emmerdale. That's all I got to say about it. Emmerdale. What has Leeds done for us? I know Emmerdale. Thank for that.
Oh, crikey! What can you say? So, what are your 3 flavors of ice cream that you like?
Go on then.
Well, don't you want to? Okay.
You look like an ice cream salesman.
Okay, I'll be boring. I love vanilla. I'm very boring. I love vanilla. I love strawberry and chocolate. There you are.
Yeah. See, a Northern's point of view, which is totally wrong, right? Because the right answer is chocolate, mint choc chip, and vanilla. Those are the 3.
I said ice cream. I said chocolate and vanilla.
Not this strawberry. Not this strawberry shit. Where's all that come from? Strawberry. Strawberry. Bloody hell. Strawberry jam is what you put over the top of it. You don't do strawberries and ice cream.
A strawberry jam. Oh.
Yeah, so you don't have strawberry.
I've got a jar of that in my
ice cream. You have that as a jam that you put that you put your bloody nuts and everything on to make it.
There's somebody who's nuts. I'm not saying it's nuts, but oh dear.
I told you, it's bloody Yorkshire tea. It's PG tips. PG tips is what you have, not Yorkshire tea. What's this Yorkshire tea shit?
Here we go. Anyhow, let's Tony York. Watched The Wrong Box, 1966 recently. That stars a star-studded comedy, Ralph Richardson, John Mills, Michael Caine, Peter Cook, and Dudley Moore, and many more. Yeah. That sounds very.
I believe it was on Legend as well about a week ago.
Was it? Oh yeah. Right.
I think I got the tail end of it.
I bet John Mills appeared in a lot of films in his filmography. You can imagine the amount of films he appeared in, going right back.
Go on then. What part of Leeds did John Mills come from?
I bet he could do a proper Yorkshire accent. I don't know where he was.
I don't care about whether accent he could do. What part of Leeds did he come from? You know, come on, I want to know. I mean, he's bound short of from somewhere.
As far as I know, he didn't come from Leeds.
As far as you're concerned, Michael Caine was from Leeds.
Yeah, James Mason came from Huddersfield, and I was watching.
There was a reason why. There's a reason why I didn't like that bastard. Yeah, go on. Right, anyway.
James Mason did a documentary when he went back to Huddersfield, and it's an extra on one of the films that I saw. It's absolutely brilliant. Is you going around Huddersfield? What more can you say? And Huddersfield, of course, Patrick Stewart was also born in Huddersfield as well. That's some great actors from Huddersfield. Yep.
Yeah. Next question.
He, I've got that one in my collection to watch. There you are. Mark says, any good? And Tony Hawk says, Benny Hill is the star of Who Done It? 1956. Got it recently, but not seen it yet. He plays a private detective. That must be really obscure.
That's pre-BBC then, isn't it?
Yeah. 1956. And especially as him, he's the star of the film. Blimey heck.
Yeah.
Wow. 1956. Tony Hawk. Wrong Box, Muckman. I really enjoyed it. It's a bit slapstick at times, but I thought the performances were good. Muckman movies trailers are too full of spoilers these days. It's got so bad that even TV shows add spoilers to the beginning of the episodes now, such as the Great Pottery Throwdown.
Yeah,
I don't know what that is.
They've been showing off this ITVX or ITV production of this woman who's a thief and she's a lover and all of this sort of stuff, right?
Right.
It started off on Monday at 9 o'clock or something.
Oh.
I'll tell you what, I've seen that advert a million times, right?
And it's put you off the program.
I still didn't watch the first episode on TV this week.
Yeah.
I thought it was called Lucy or Grace or something like that. I can't remember what the bloody thing's called.
Yeah.
You know, basically she doesn't want to lose her daughter and she's trying she's a thief or something by stealing diamonds and all this.
It always sounds familiar, the way they produce them and
and I just went, how many times am I going to see this advert? Bloody hell.
Yeah. And then we've got Wee Bob Hart saying, right, it is 9:51. You guys need to set a time limit on your responses. Geez, you can talk. We? And then his next response is laughing.
I'll tell you what, he ought to rename this whole thing, right? To Mouth of the North meets Mouth of the South.
Yes, the big mouths meet.
And then people would know, oh Christ, we're in for a 4-hour epic if it's the Mouth of the South. Bloody hell.
Wee Bobber says nighttime. You will see in 3 hours' time, I'm sure. Cheeky. So what time was that? 9:52.
Yeah, well, he's right, isn't he? It's like bloody hour and 50.
We have got a bit behind. We were.
Why is that? Why is that? Because of you.
No, it's you.
It's you.
You always play. Muckman Movies. I saw a Michael Caine film in HMV today that I'd never heard of called Bullet to Beijing. I think it's a sequel to the Icres File, as it has Harry Palmer in it. Well, if it's got Harry Palmer as a character.
It's Funeral in Berlin is the follow-up to the Ipcris File, but Bullet to Beijing probably is as well. I just know that the Ipcris File and Funeral in Berlin are two Harry Palmer films.
Yeah.
Because Harry Palmer was supposed to be the sophisticated James Bond. He was designed. James Bond would not sell anywhere with a bloke who basically had glasses on. I mean, if everybody thought that James Bond was short or long-sighted and had to wear glasses, that'd be the end. He was supposed to be the spy that is more realistic. That's what Harry Palmer is.
Yes. Yeah.
So, that's why I think Michael Caine is the best Bond, really, the best spy film.
Yeah.
Because he's more realistic. Bond is a snob.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, basically, he's a overeducated, totally strong physique, know-it-all.
Yeah,
really, who can pick up a gadget and know everything about it just by picking it up. It's almost seemed he got in a car and knows every button. God knows how you do that. I got in my car, no word of a lie. I bought an Audi, right? and it was my first new car in 2016, and I didn't know what any of the buttons did. I didn't even know what the windscreen wiper was.
Yeah.
This guy can bloody get in the car and drive it around and knows how all the buttons
Yeah.
that makes it go underwater. What?
Right.
I mean, he literally gets off of a plane and he's brought into the offices and he's on to the next case. So when's he got time to read about schematics to new cars that he's going to be driving? He ain't got no bloody time, has he?
Oh dear.
But it's true. Christ, at least Harry Palmer's reading on a plane between going on journeys.
Yeah.
Right? This guy's bloody drinking vodka martinis and shit.
Pissed.
He knows how to turn on every watch he's got detonators in, and he knows how to bloody operate the alarm. I can't operate the clock on my video recorder, let alone set a timer for a bomb to go off on a watch.
Yeah.
You know, it takes me 2 weeks to work out how a Garmin fitness watch works. This guy just picks it up and he's pulling cables and shit out.
He never practices anything, does he?
Yeah.
He's given these gadgets. There you are. That's it. He doesn't say, "Oh, how does this work properly?" You know.
Yeah. Thanks, M, for that. I'm really glad you've just given me the top of the range BMW. I know everything about it now just by you giving me the keys. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Well, Lotus Elan. Oh, that's great. I know everything about Lotus Elans. Cheers. Give me the keys. There. Oh, I'm gonna be flying a plane, am I, today? In a helicopter and a gyrocopter and all of this sort of stuff.
Right.
Also, yeah, that takes me back to me being in the RAF and the Navy and the Army. That I was in all of them.
Yeah, it seems to be. Yeah. Anyhow, Mugman, anyone seen it? I almost bought it. Yeah, I forgot where we are.
I am laughing myself now, really.
Yeah. Mugman, I've heard of that. I think it made quite a bit later than the other Palmer films. Never seen it. All right, there you are. And some a bit overlooked in Carry-Ons I like. Oh yeah, Bill Maynard, Terry Scott, and Liz Fraser. Yeah, Liz Fraser. She was in quite a lot.
See, this is the thing. I don't think they're overlooked. It's just that people mention what's your top 5, right?
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's going to put Terry Scott in the top 5. The question
was
what was your top 5?
Yeah.
Terry Scott was not overlooked. He was in quite a few. And to be quite honest, you know, the ones that he was in were absolutely genius. Carry On, loved him in there.
Well, Liz Fraser was in quite a lot, wasn't she?
She was at the very beginning. She was basically a stalwart of those early ones.
Yeah.
And she ended up, you know, being in things more like confession films because she was always in a busk with a big with her boobs that were quite large. They put her in basques and things, and she just ended up being sort of like the MILF that you'd want to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a shame, really.
Yeah.
But there's so many great Carry-On actors that, you know, you could turn around and say, you know, I mean, as much as there's June Whitfield, so why hasn't anybody, you know, she's an underrated one, and you turn around and go, June Whitfield's brilliant, but I wouldn't say she's overlooked. It's just that she's not going to be in your top 5, is she?
Yeah. I need to see the Ipris file again. Can't remember anything about it. I have Obson's Choice on DVD. But yes, since I saw it. John Mills wants to marry Charles Lawton's daughter. Yeah, I think it's set in Victorian times. Yeah. Can't say I get it now, remember. Favorite on-screen robot? Mine is R2D2.
Oh, that's a hard one as well. There's so many. Because I could say the Saturn Free robot. I could turn around and say the robot in Black Hole.
Forbidden Planet.
Vincent, isn't there? Yeah, you could turn around and say Robbie the robot.
Yeah.
From Forbidden Planet. So many robots, aren't there, really? Bicentennial Man I saw today.
Oh, yeah.
Christ. I suppose we've got to turn around and say that Star Trek is going to have R2D2 and C3PO, aren't they? The C3PO was brilliant. I liked C3PO.
Yeah.
C3PO, I could understand what he was saying, and he was a sarcastic little bastard. So, I'd probably turn around because R2D2 just made blips and blops noises.
Yeah. Actually, I think I would choose. I never thought of. Yeah, CPO.
CP30.
Yeah, CP30 is good, isn't it? He's good.
He is good. Yeah. Well, Anthony Daniels, isn't it? I mean,
yeah.
But there's so many robots out there. I mean,
yeah.
I tell you what, McMahon, I bow to your knowledge. R2D2, what a fantastic classic choice. That's all I can say. Without wanting to offend you, that you got it wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, as I always say at the end.
Oh, I like that last few words. Yeah, you got it wrong. Yeah.
I think your choice is fantastic, even if you haven't got it wrong.
Oh dear. You're supposed to be polite to our people watching it.
He knows me now. He knows me. He knows me now. He knows me now. He's part of my gang. I'm part of his gang.
Yeah, the gang. And Tony says, Klaatu from Daddy Erston. Oh, yeah. No, yeah. Brilliant, that one. Well, it's a great film. It's one of the all-time great films, isn't it? It has to be. Let's have a look. Bookman movies, that's a good one, Tony. And then, look, I like Robbie the Robot too, from the Forbidden Planet. They are.
Yeah.
We mentioned them all, really, the classic ones. Tony, I saw some good lists on Letterboxd listing network film releases. Varies a bit, but there are over 300. Most were the British film series they did. 300's quite a big list there. I don't know if... is he a bit like Jim Jam, is he? Let's have a look. Well, he won't be here now, but he was here then. I built up my collection on a budget.
And I tell you what, that's the best way to.
I have bought a later season of a show, then later bought an earlier season. That's your thing about.
This is where I was saying I can't do that. I can't buy a season 2 and not know that I'm going to be able to get 1, 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just.
I think I would. I'm exactly the same, Jim Jam. I would buy. Don't worry me at all. And when you're on a budget and you're trying to build up that collection, you've got to go with that, aren't you? Makes sense. And
of course, you're all wrong. Anyway, carry on.
You would. I gave up halfway through. This is Tony through season 3 of Discovery. Intending to go back to it and never have. I know I've never felt the inclination to go back. And it's there on my shelves. I'm sat there still sometimes thinking I could just take them in. I might get a decent price at CEX and get something I really like. What's it doing on that shelf?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm still thinking about it, but we'll see. Because
you could buy a stupid bastard and buy 4 and 5 as well.
Yes, exactly. I mean, Star Trek. It's kind of one I've always collected. The Star Trek series is, and I've got the original series, Next Gen, Enterprise, and then that's it. To me, that's Star Trek, and then the new Star Trek has started to come. And what really put me off was with Discovery was that first season with the Klingon business.
Oh, honestly,
God,
it's gotten really bad because there's a lot of things that I haven't watched. And there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff I haven't watched as well, like Below Decks.
Oh, I haven't seen that. No,
You know,
Lower Decks, and other one. There was a kids one even.
There's
them.
there's one where half the crew are aliens
Oh,
and that got cancelled.
is that the Lower Decks?
After about 2 seasons.
Yeah, I'm just not bothered with that.
I just go, I can't keep up.
Yeah, but
there was Discovery and
Discovery
Picard and
Below
Decks and all of this going on, and I was just going, I can't keep up with it.
Yeah, the Klingons, it was just such a bad move. To start a new series with the Klingons being so different.
Oh, that's Discovery.
All the language business they were doing, the subtitles. God, it really put me off.
I was watching Discovery in the very first episode. There was things I didn't like about it straight away. I was going, this is before the Enterprise, and they've got holodecks.
I wasn't even thinking that. I'm just watching.
Why is it that their screen is 3 times bigger than the one on the Enterprise? Why is it that the Enterprise has got a 55-inch plasma screen and the one that's in Discovery, which is 70 years earlier, has got a massive frigging projector that's almost like the size of my room?
Oh,
what's all that about? I was looking at it and I was going, the technology is newer than what's in the Enterprise, so I don't understand what the hell this is all about.
I mean, the second season did try and make things a bit better with the what you call it, Captain Pike with all that business, and that was good. Yeah. But I saw his series. I thought, all right, everybody's raving over Strange New World.
The first season was brilliant.
And
Strange New Worlds.
When they started singing, I'm sorry.
Hang on. They did not start singing until season 2.
Yeah, but
season 1
was better. Yeah,
they loved season 1. Was better. Loved season 1. Season 2.
I know people say that all these series did singing episodes.
The thing is, they did something right. They did something right. They brought in Carol Kane. She was brilliant. The one, who I'm talking about.
Which one was she?
The one who's in Scrooge. She's the fairy that smacks Bill Murray in the mouth with a toaster. Carol Kane, her name is, I think. She was the person who was in.
Did she play?
Oh, she's in engineering.
Oh, the engineer. Oh, yeah.
But what I'm trying to say is that they brought in her, but then they brought in singing. What's all this singing shit?
Yeah.
So they did something right with bringing her in, and then brought in, which was
I couldn't take it seriously. It ruined it for me.
Yeah.
And everybody was saying, "Oh, well,
I'll be back in a minute. You carry on with answering the questions.
Yeah, I will do.
I'll leave it into your safe hands, you northern bastard. Right.
Yeah. Look at you. How kind of you.
Being as it's your show.
A show. You make it sound like a show. Right. Mugman movies. I stopped buying TV shows a long time ago. I don't have the time to rewatch them, as there's too much on TV as it is. I know what you mean by that. I don't think I've bought any TV shows. I mean, I tried to keep with Star Trek, but I've stopped really with Star Trek. Yeah, I think you're right. There's so many new ones. They don't interest me. Nothing says, and yet there might be some good ones. I don't know, but generally, I tend to think it's a lot to invest in some of these series. Even though nowadays they're 6 to 8 episodes sometimes, which is not as bad. Whereas one of these series that we used to like. Over 20 odd episodes, but like X-Files and things that I absolutely love, it didn't bother me. But I think some of these nowadays, I don't know, maybe it gives them time. They should sort of tighten the writing up, only having that amount of episodes. But from what I've seen, it isn't really doing that much good. There's nothing like they used to be, nobody's doing these series that are imaginative enough. You know, like I love the sliders. Everybody talks about slide. Yeah, every week I mention sliders. Sliders so good, but nobody can do anything like that anymore. It's very sad what they've done really with TV series. Is you know, there's no like X Files. Doubt if there'll ever be like that again. I like Fringe. That was a few years ago. That was quite good. Continuum. These are early 200s, 2000s, early 2000s, I think. But generally, I haven't really seen it. I'm sure there is good series. Oh, maybe there isn't. Maybe they have all gone with writing because you know how it is nowadays. At least with a film, you only have to invest 2 to 3 hours of your time usually. I get that quite a lot now. And but I think maybe I think this is why box sets are popular is because you can watch a series just very quickly. You don't not waiting every week and with your time. You can move on pretty quickly with them. You could do 3 hours on a box set one night, and then you could do another 3 hours. It's not as it's not too bad if they say 6 to 8 episodes, maybe even 10, but beyond that, I can understand totally. I very rarely buy series because of the time involved. Yeah, the one I mentioned earlier, Pennyworth, yeah, it's something I came across online as it was a prequel of sorts to V for Vendetta, which I enjoy. Yeah, I liked what you said about Pennyworth being an alternative 60s and 70s. That certainly got my interest. I may have a look. I may look it up. I took a gamble. Glad I did. So far, really enjoying it. Oh well, that's good. I'm really glad about that. I ordered a series called On the Up. I'm 4 episodes in. Now let me guess. That's another network title. I think I saw you showing me in my email thing. Yeah, I remember seeing that. I'm sure Delboy has had On the Up as well.
Yeah, and it actually it doesn't contradict, but it adds to the things that I was saying about TV series. Yes, it's right when you consider your things like Star Trek, X Files, all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's 26 episodes and 56 minutes, and basically they interlock with each other, and basically you can't watch one without them watching the next one. But
yeah,
when it comes to TV series, you can buy comedies that are half an hour long, and I can easily just watch 1 or 2 of those, and that's an hour of time.
They're easier to watch in that sense.
2 hours of a film.
Yeah.
The other thing is, you couldn't make the X Files anymore because what would you have? What would you have? The vaping man? What the hell's all that about? The vaping man. You know what I mean? You couldn't have the smoking man, could you? Really else. So there's a no for a start. I mean,
vaping man.
You know what I mean? But it is funny. I was listening to what you guys were saying. I was going, the vaping man, yeah. And all of that. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing is, it's a good job that Steve's not around because he hates the word box set. He said he goes onto the streaming services and he said there's a box set of Doctor Who, and you go, they're not box sets. There's no box involved on a streaming service. What the hell are you calling them box sets for? There's no box involved. But they ought to be called something else, like season. And then the other thing is, why does one call it season and the other one calls it series? Series 1, then season 1.
Yeah, I still can't get it right. American thing and all that business. Muckman says, I bought a wonderful box set through a Kickstarter.
All right.
It's 4 films from Alexandra Prutushko, all restored by Deaf Crocodile label.
Like I said, it's just one of those things where I won't do Kickstarters because it's just that. So, I mean, there was one person I know that put £30 into a Kickstarter. They didn't reach their target and they never got their money back. And I'm just going,
wow.
I'm doing that then.
Really? Oh, it's not good. Yeah. This is that film again. Anthropoid was the code name of the mission to take out Reinhard Heinrich. Oh, right. Do you remember we were talking about the Czech films?
Yeah.
Anthropoid, yeah.
And there were 3 films that were mentioned.
Yeah. Jack Bannon plays Pennyworth. Never heard of him, but he's good in it. Sounds just like Michael Caine, does it?
Yeah, like I said, I've still got it up. Pennywise.
Yeah.
Look, it says Pennyworth marketed as Pennyworth, the origin of Batman's butler. It's set in the same universe as Gotham, V for Vendetta, etc., etc.
Yeah.
And I was looking at it and I was going, for V for Vendetta, that was an Alan Moore Elseworlds series. I didn't know that V for Vendetta is in the same universe as Gotham, because Gotham is a city and V for Vendetta is a political thing that was announced. Yeah, it's a film, but it was based on a comic series from the 70s.
Yeah,
Alan Moore did it, but I thought it was an Elseworld story. Elseworld was a what if type tale. Right?
Oh, right.
What if this occurred? In other words, here's a perfect example. What if Rick Jones was the Hulk? What if somebody else picked up the hammer?
Yeah. Marvel do that.
Yeah. So V for Vendetta, I thought, was an Elseworld tale, but I might be wrong on that because I don't know DC as well as I know Marvel. So.
Oh, right.
A perfect Elseworld tale was what if Superman was Russian?
This is following. Tony says it's also a prequel to the V for Vendetta film, showing the lead up to it and fighting of the Civil War, which would bring about the fascist government. In the film, Paloma Faith is a psycho killer too. Oh, she's a singer, isn't she, Paloma?
So I don't even know that DC had a Civil War.
Yeah.
See what I mean? I mean, Batman, I don't remember anybody saying that Batman grew up during a civil war in Gotham City.
Well, there you are.
What the hell was all that about?
I agree with Dale. Both Alien and Aliens are on an equal par with each other because they take a different approach on the same theme. I love them both, but I was blown away by Aliens when I was about 14. Oh, well, you 14-year-old, you'd be very impressed.
Yeah, you see, because Muckman is obviously correct because he agrees with me, right?
I think age is important, actually, when you see films. It does have an impression on you. Yeah.
So Muckman is obviously right because he agrees with me, right?
First of all. Yeah.
And the second thing is that, I mean, just like you said, it all depends on your age. I saw Alien well before Aliens.
Yeah.
And it's like that old adage, which is your favorite Bond, and it's the one you grew up with, and all that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's very much like that. And you can be a film historian and change your mind, but and then a film historian changes his mind because he bows to what other critics have said before him, and then changes his mind, where actually his real mind says, "Oh no, Aliens is better than Alien because that's what I saw first." He will change his mind because all the other critics have said, "Oh no, Alien is the superior film because it was the first one." I'm one of those people that I try to keep with what I originally know, and I try not to get swayed by other people.
Yeah. I actually go with my heart. It's what I feel. I think, I really like this one more because it to me it just captures something. Sometimes you can't explain it. You can intellectually explain things, but I think sometimes when you talk about something you love, you can't always explain why. I mean, why do I love Dune 1984? I know it's a flawed film. I know so much about it, but yet I still love it.
Yeah,
it's weird.
Like I said, I mean, that
Absolutely.
piece of shit, June 1984. I mean, that's what I'm
That's what
trying
you
to
would
say.
say,
I mean,
yeah. And
you
yeah,
know,
it's
2001 pisses all over it, and yet you don't like
well,
that. So there
it
you are. You know what
the
I mean?
problem with 2001 one, it's got no heart for me, and I wanted it. I prefer part two. Part two is better.
No, you only don't like 2001 because you can't get over the fact that bloody Rising Damp Leonard Rossiter's in
Oh
it.
yeah, I mean, God.
You've
Oh,
said
it's
that already.
true.
You've said
It is
that a
true.
million times.
How
So.
to ruin a film. Yeah, and it also it's not just him as well.
Yeah, where was
Yeah,
Joan Collins and the vodka and the martinis?
yeah.
Well, what's all that about?
Yeah,
So there you go.
I know people will go, but what about the cinematography? What about the music and all that? And I'm thinking, big time I've got through seeing Leonard Rossiter, the music and everything else. It is just you can't take it seriously anymore.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean- You just turned around and said a soundtrack can sway everything about the film, which is why you watch The Graduate. So that don't make sense
Yeah,
either.
it may not make sense, but what does in world? You know, I
Do you know
don't go
what?
with logic. Why would I go with logic?
The one thing I love about you, Ian, is that I like June and I like 2001. I like every chatter that's in here and all of that sort of stuff. And they're all wrong, but I love them anyway.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I know.
I love that Tony, and he's a right bastard. Anyway,
And has remained my go-to film ever since. Oh, that
yeah,
was about
Alien,
his,
yeah, Alien,
yeah.
Alien.
I understand that totally. I see that. Yeah. My top 5 films. Crikey's even got a top 3. See, I couldn't do that now, but go on, we'll have a look. Aliens, The
Yeah,
Thing,
yeah.
Shawshank Redemption,
Wrong.
Jaws, and Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring.
The
Now that's
Green
an interesting
Mile.
because
Where's the Green Mile? Where's the Shawshank Redemption? What's all that about? No, I'm only joking. I like the Shawshank as well over Green Mile. Green
it's,
Mile's got that. Green Mile's got that superstition element in it that makes
yeah.
me go.
Do you know what interests me about his list there is, yeah, I would expect those films, apart from what he's got number 1, Lord of the Rings. I don't know why I didn't expect that there, but I can understand why. But I don't know. I was expecting something else. I don't know.
I don't know
Blade
why.
Runner. Maybe I was expecting Blade Runner.
I know there's no westerns in there. What the bloody hell's
Yeah.
that all about?
Yeah. That's what this is the limitations of a top 5. I cannot do a top 5 of those
I
films.
can't do it. I can't do a top.
You know, because is Lord of the Rings. I agree, it'd be such a great film, but it's not one that I immediately think of. You know, but I agree with it. You know, Martyrs is a gory horror. Oh yeah, you see, Martyrs, brilliant film, absolutely brilliant, but it's not to everybody's taste. I would rate that highly, but I don't think everybody would. It's not to every. It's more in the sort of that going down the torture porn area. Nearly, that's what a lot of people look at.
Haven't seen it.
But French cinema was going down that dark road, but. I think it's a great film, and the philosophy is interesting behind it. Reasons why they're doing it. It's got religious connotations as well. There's a lot you go into with Martyrs. Sorry,
Never seen it.
Have you seen Martyrs?
Nope.
No. Oh. A Switchblade Romance.
No, haven't seen that either.
That one. Have you? No.
Nope.
James Sumner. Hello. Welcome to our channel.
Yeah, he's probably gone off the bed and all.
Yeah, he's probably got over them. Rum and raisin chocolate. Oh, this is the ice cream question. Rum and raisin, interesting. Chocolate and vanilla, interesting. Rum. Hey, Mike. We can't have Tetleys on top of
Tetley ice cream.
Ice cream.
Tetley flavoured crisp.
You're both wrong. Raspberry Ripple.
Whoa, hang on.
Got
Right,
chip.
have you noticed, look, have you noticed something, right? It says you're both wrong, right? So if he's talking Tony and he's talking Ian, I'm bloody off in the no man's land again, look, because he's put you both wrong. Not all of you are wrong, or all three of you are wrong, both, right? So I'm redundant again, look, because it's Tony and you, right? And I'm nowhere again. I don't know why I come on here, because there's no bloody Southerners that gets a bloody chance on here. Right? Anyway, you're both wrong. Raspberry Ripple, mint pistachio. All that shit. What's all that about?
Raspberry Ripple's a good call as well.
Raspberry Ripple is Southern slang for Raspberry Ripple is Southern slang for nipple. Mint chocolate.
Hey, you want some Raspberry Ripple? Oh dear. Oh dear. We have to watch what we're saying now. Right.
Well, I didn't say men's nipples or women's nipples. I just said it's short. It's rhyming slang for nipples, because it is.
It is, yeah. I've seen some episodes of Young at Heart on Yorkshire TV, a comedy with John Mills with a northern accent.
Bloody northern accent again. Jesus Christ.
I can't remember that.
Northern accent, Northern, Leeds, Northern. Jesus. Was Jesus Northern?
Let him get out.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah.
I'll settle down. I'll settle down now.
Peter O'Toole was from Leeds.
Jesus Christ, man.
Brilliant. I love it.
Yeah, he was shit.
Quality. Billion
you see the big smile on my face, you know.
Yeah, I know. You can't stop laughing, can you? I like that. It was a good punchline, that, Peter O'Toole. $1 Billion Brain is the third Harry Potter film.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It's enjoyable, but a bit more outlandish than the first two. Oh, so it's got a more...
yeah. It's a bit more Bondy.
Yeah. So is Bullet to Beijing on the fourth film then, Tony? Oh, yeah. That's still on about those films. Yes, I just looked. It was released in 1995, 30 years on from the others. Wow.
I was going to say, I don't remember Bullet from Beijing, but I remember $1 Billion Brain. I remember...
But I mean, that's unusual, isn't it? I mean, 30 years. 30 years is... God, yeah.
I wonder if he was still wearing those glasses.
Yeah. Can't be too bad. It has... Oh, Patrick Allen. He keeps popping up recently. I've come across him. Patrick Allen and Burt Walk in it. Well, Burt Walk, he was everywhere, wasn't he? If there was a Chinese role.
Quack.
Who'd you call in? Oh, Burt Walk.
Quack.
Delboy needs to change his name to the Wrongdoer. Oh,
what? Why?
And then he's laughing there.
As long as he's laughing, I haven't got a clue. It must be a northern joke. I don't know.
This is Tony. I only got a couple of episodes into season 1 of Strange New Worlds. It was okay, but I never got back to it either. Yeah, I know what you mean. It's just
I watched all of season 1 of Strange New Worlds. It's just I could only get to about 3 or 4 episodes of season 2.
Everybody were raving about it as if it was, absolutely and it wasn't. It's okay. It's okay. It's not as bad as Discovery, is it? But
Discovery is atrocious.
It's not that brilliant though. Really, it shows you how low Star Trek has sunk. If we're going, well, it's not as bad. But if any other time, if they want Discovery, we'd be saying this is awful. Yeah, singing as well, blooming heck.
Oh, so has Doctor Who got singing in it?
Yeah, exactly. We better not get on about Doctor Who because you know what we're like. But Fringe, yes, it was my favorite TV show. I even have a Fringe tattoo. Really? Wow. I love Fringe. I've got it all. It's like a modern. Well, it wasn't that in modern now, but it was like an X Files kind of program. It was really good. I enjoyed it. It was good to see something like that.
I got a rude joke about tattoos.
Oh right. Do you want to give it or don't you? No.
Well, it was actually in a film called Amazon Women on the Moon.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that one. Yeah.
And he says, or it could have been Kentucky Fried Movie actually. He said Melvin has got his last will and testament tattooed onto his cock, but it wouldn't stand up in court.
Oh God, no. Oh, crikey.
Oh,
Oh,
come on.
yeah. That is, you could have, oh, dear me. Yeah.
I told you it was a rude joke.
Yeah, it is a rude joke, but probably after about 10 pints, it seemed absolutely the most funniest joke in the world.
Oh, they put it in the film. It must be
Yeah.
all right.
Well,
I've got past the censors.
yeah, well, tell you what, it's not official law, I don't think, to Batman. It mentions Germany being ruled by Chancellor Braun, Eva Braun, yeah, in a limited nuclear exchange between Russia and the US, and shows televised public executions.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like I said, there's an Elseworld story where
yeah,
Superman didn't actually crash land in America. He crash landed in Russia.
yeah,
And it was called Red Sun.
yeah.
And it's where Superman is actually a propaganda agent and goes around blowing up all the missiles that America have got.
That's
You know,
pretty
like I
good.
said, he has to choose, good and bad when you
Yeah,
consider the fact that we consider Russia to be bad, all the time.
yeah.
So, yeah.
I'll tell you, let's continue. In London, first one is named as a murderer, amongst other things. Oh, James, you know who?
Yeah.
Love it,
Now,
eh?
now
Yeah.
then. Yeah.
Uh,
Don't click every trip, isn't it? Yeah.
oh, crikey, yeah. Sorry, I've lost my place now.
It shouldn't be
There
too
we are.
hard.
I've got it. Aliens is my number one. Lord of the Rings is my number 5. All right, that was your list, yeah. And look, man, got a big grin on my face over Dell's northern jealousy. Yeah.
It's not jealousy, I can tell you that. It's northern short-sightedness. That's what I got.
Tony says North 3, South 1.
Yeah, because there's only one southerner in here.
Blooming southerners. And then we're at the last one. Good night, all, and thanks. Yeah, good night. Thank you, Tony. It's been great.
A short one, but an enjoyable one.
We got 7 people still here. She's not bad.
Yeah, you can talk about anything you want. Northern bastards and southern anything you want, really.
Anyhow, thank you, Delboy. You've made me laugh a lot, and hopefully everybody else has been entertained. And thank you, everyone, for joining us. We've got another one here. I'm from the southeast. Oh, Danny, it saved you.
Yeah, where were you earlier? When I was by myself.
And Danny says, "Have a great one." Yeah, same to you. Thank you, Danny. Yeah.
I just want to say thanks to everybody. I'm only joking with you. I have a total laugh with Ian.
It's a great fun, isn't it? Yeah.
I have to educate because he's northern and he's a bit short-sighted.
Oh dear.
But as much as all that is, I think Ian is honestly one of my best friends.
Yeah.
I'm getting to know Muckman. I'm getting to know Tony. You know,
Yeah.
they're all great. No, they're all great people. It wasn't either. Honestly, it wasn't either person who said, Tony, you got to make him an admin, right?
Yeah.
First person I mentioned was Tony. I said, you got
Yeah.
to make Tony a bloody
Yeah.
a
It is.
northern. You got to make him a northern admin. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Fantastic.
I've had a great time. Thank you very much, and
You're
thank you
welcome.
so much for supporting Ian, because he's getting old and
Yeah.
senile, and he needs
Yeah.
all the support. He needs scaffolding around himself. That's what he needs. So
Okay. Yeah. Well, thank you anyhow, Delboy. It's always brilliant. And now say your farewell like you normally do.
oh, salute.
I'll see thee again.